Well, after some technical issues, we are finally live here on ESPN, and the race is underway here at Pocono. But we are live. We're here for the masses. We do not stop here on ESPN, no matter what happens. And we've got myself in the booth with you right now, and we've got Frank Marchese and Tony Trapasso in the booth, guys. A few technical issues, but we are here, and we are racing. First lap just coming to a conclusion right there. Yeah, the field getting spread out now as we are on lap 3 of 160 here. 400 miles we're running at this circuit, and it's going to be a highly contested one. The championship already sewn up by this man right here, John Poole, just running behind Scott Brinton. And if things are to be believed, gentlemen, this could well be the last ever Top Fuel race. Yeah, and we're here at this finale now with nothing really on the line, just a bit of pride right now as somehow Chris Walker has managed to hold off Ronnie Osmer, who was really putting him under pressure. Now Chris Walker finds himself in the back of Nate Seifert, so a bit of back and forth going on in this early running. We're looking at Kieran Bregelli now, just ahead of Mark Walker and Luis Gonzalez Nunez, the very impressive rookie running inside the top 10, the Chilean native currently hailing from Canada. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah, as we're still looking at Ronnie Osmer, who's managed to get away from Butch Davis, now closing back in on Chris Walker as they come down the long pond straight, as Tony just alluded to, as these four starting to stretch the legs over Kieran Bregelli now. We've got a 4-car breakaway in this one, Frank. Yeah, as we are going to see him fall back into the clutches of Kieran Bregelli. Tony, we didn't really get into this, but what are these guys got to do around here just to get to the checkered flag here? This is probably a very deceivingly tricky track. A lot of cautions usually in this race. What have we got to? What we expected to see here tonight? Oh. Yeah, that damage. Yeah. Yeah, that front wing not looking right on that front on that number 55 machine. As we go back to the leaders. Sorry, Tony, to cut you off there. Absolutely, as we're seeing side-by-side action here between Kieran Brigelli and Luis Gonzalez Nunez as they make their way through turn one, as Brigelli just able to hold on from the man in the number 35, but here comes Nunez on the outside again as they make their way towards turn two, which is after which track, Tony? Absolutely. And here's one for you, Frank. What is turn three after model after? That's the one. I wasn't sure, okay? Absolutely. I like what you did there. As you guys talk amongst yourselves, I'm just trying to sort this broadcast out for a second.
On a planet of their own at this stage.
Absolutely, and I'm not really surprised to see Luis Gonzalez Nunez able to have some success here at Pocono, because it is one of the few oval tracks that you actually need to drive similar to a road course, because all three corners are so distinctly different. It's one of those tracks that generally the guys that can hold their own on a road course are going to be able to hold their own here at Pocono.
They're battling for it again here, side by side through turn one. You can definitely tell who has a better handling car, because, as you mentioned, turn two being being modeled after the four corners at Indianapolis, it is next to impossible to pass on the outside at Indianapolis through the corners. And if your car is handling very well here, you can see passes on the outside of the tunnel turn.
I mean, well, the biggest thing is you've got to set your passes up so that you can get a pull down the Long Pond straightaway and hopefully get a run on somebody as you haul off into turn number one.
That is very much the way to do it around here. This is a lot of the main way you pass here is with the slingshot, with the draft, and you see as they head down these straightaways, whether it be Siefker up at the front or Brignelli and Nunez trying to break that draft.
Brignelli having a moment. Wow.
There's a moment for Brigelli there, a big one too.
That's definitely going to change the flavor of your fire suit. As
wow,
Brigelli, hats off to him. Get his first week last week.
That was actually Siefker the one
or
last
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, there you go.
At Michigan, Brigelli getting his first win here in the Top Fuel Racing Series. Hats off to him for being able to save that one. And we've got a car very slow coming out of two. I'm looking to see who that is. Bear with me.
I think it's Scott.
Oh, Ronnie Osmer going sideways as well. He's having a horrible night tonight.
That's who that was, Ronnie Osmer.
Yeah, and
I think he's just towed it.
Yeah, Osmer gonna be calling it a night early. Already had to burn his fast repair, just towed it, and Ronnie Osmer has left the building.
Looks like he's going to go and catch the rest of the Martinsville race, I believe.
You're probably not wrong there. But
So we're up and running on all platforms now after the late start, but we are here for the finale of Top Fuel Racing Season 10 here on ESPN. Had a couple of technical glitches, but we got them ironed out pretty quickly. But we are here. We're ready to rock and roll. And just before, while we're going for a bit of a quiet moment, while the leaders are battling right now, actually, just want to say another big thank you for 1,000 subscribers. I mean, we could not have got here without you guys showing your support, and yeah, we'll look forward to the next 1,000. I'm thinking you share that same sentiment, Tony.
I do. I cannot. Sam, when you and I started this little experiment in stupidity that we used to call it, never in my wildest dreams did I ever think we were going to make it past one season, let alone, here we are 4 years later.
2 years later. 2 years later.
Yeah, 3. No. We started in
July 2017.
16. Okay.
Yeah, July 2017, so it's coming up to 3 years.
We're coming up on 3 years. And stay tuned to the Esports Broadcasting Network Facebook page, because I can promise you we will be doing something special for the 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, we've still got to celebrate the 1,000 subscribers properly. Yeah, we tried it the other night, but it didn't work so well, so we're going to have another stab at that. Obviously, it's not week 13 anymore, so bottom split bingo might be a bit out of the question, but we can try it. We can think of something. We're pretty intelligent guys.
There's always rookie street stocks that we can do bottom split bingo for.
Oh, my days.
Exactly.
The Carb Cup's in Talladega this week.
No.
No. God, no.
No. That's where NIS was, where we tried bottom split bingo, and it just turned into, watching paint dry. But Sam, I never would have dreamed that ESPN would have grown to where we have it, and it's all thanks to our fans. Everybody that has ever watched one of our broadcasts, thank you. From the bottom of my heart. I mean, it's kind of scary when I look back at, hey Sam, you know that league that Cody runs with the tin tops? Yeah. You want to broadcast a race with me? Sure. What are we gonna call it? You're nuts in a booth. Nah.
Bofa broadcasting we came up with.
Bofa. Yeah. Bofa. Yeah, both these nuts. From that, it's turned into the Esports Broadcasting Network trademark, and it's been just continuing to grow. We've brought on, a lot of talented people. Frank joining the fray. Frank, welcome to the Nut House.
Thank you very much. Allergic, by the way.
What, allergic to nuts?
Yes.
You're in the wrong building then, bud. You're sitting with 2 of them right now.
But yeah, it's good to have you along, Derek. Obviously, teething problems happen. We don't mind that. Like I said before the broadcast, it's not my first rodeo. Definitely not Tony's first rodeo, but we'll get you up to speed as soon as possible, and you can be calling the races just as much as us old hands here in the booth. But anyway, let's go back to the race anyway, as we're still looking at the leaders battling it out there. Nate Siefka and Chris Walker going side by side through 1 and 2. These two have been dicing it out since the fall of the green flag here, Frank, not giving each other an inch even though they're teammates.
Yeah, no, they have been really close, and they have stretched out a nice little, almost a 4-second gap back to Butch Davis in third. So these two have got the track all to themselves. Just giving each other the room, giving each other the space. They've gotten out in front, and I think Chris Walker has now decided, all right, it's time to battle.
And Chris Walker's been looking for his first win since 2018, so definitely wants a win here tonight. Going back a bit further in the field, Butch Davis in third, pretty much all on his own. He's not really under threat from Nunez, and Brughelli still up to speed despite that little moment he had through turn 2. Not really having much trouble there, as Scott Brinson back in P6, John Poole in P7, Carl Burke in P8, 9th is Chris Voiles, and Mark Walker rounding out your top 10. And you see Mark Walker right there just putting Voiles under a tiny bit of pressure there, but not too much.
Well, getting back to Brughelli, I've almost got to think that with the new tire model that iRacing rolled out during this last update, Brughelli may have flat spotted his tires.
I mean, it stands a chance. I mean, he did go for a slide for life through turn 2, so that will have hurt his tires in the long run. He's not really able to make any ground up on Nunez again, and it looks like Brinson might be slowly reeling him in there as well.
Actually, it's really, it hasn't been all that different. I mean, Brinson just set a lap that was about a 10th quicker, but the lap prior, Brughelli was 4/10 quicker than Brinson going through.
Absolutely. And Sam, the thing is, if you go into the gyro cam and take a look towards the right front tire on Brughelli's car, there's a spot on that tire.
Maybe take a look and see.
Yeah, he's doing 216 miles an hour, but you can see where there's a spot that flashes by.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, there is a little bit of a white spot right in the dead center of that tire.
Yeah, I see.
So Brughelli's got to be fighting that flat spot right now. So hats off to him for holding down a solid 5th place over second to the good over 6th place Scotty Brinson.
Yeah, as we're still looking, we're just going to switch over to Chris Walker. And we're on this nice little camera there. It's on the side of the aero screen, looking at the right front tyre and forward of the track. And you see him right there behind Kieran Brughelli, really putting him under pressure still as this race continuing on as they make their way out of turn 3. We're on lap 25 already, guys. We've got to be thinking green flag pit stops are not too far in the distance.
28 laps is about all you're going to be out before you're going to be on fumes, and that's if you play the draft right. But these guys up front have just been throwing hand grenades at each other since the drop of the green, so I'm thinking we're 1 to 2 laps from seeing wholesale green flag pit stops.
That, and also by this time, the first real round of pit stops here last October didn't happen until about the mid-30s. In laps, but by this time last October, we would be under our 3rd caution right now this time last October.
Yeah, racing very well right now as we go. Our 3rd driver down pit road now under green flag, and that's Colin Scott bringing it down in the number 20. Clean stop, he's going to make it back out of pit road, but he's going to go a lap down here, Frank.
Yes, he is, and Carl Burke just also entered the lane. I believe he was in 6th when he decided to come in. He's fallen back to 13th at this stage.
And our winner from the Indy 500 a couple weeks back, Tim Bates, has already gone pit side as well.
Yeah, as we're seeing Kevin O'Brien having a few connection issues back there as Carl Burke is still on the jacks there. He's going to drop down and still not going anywhere. Carl Burke having a few issues in pit road right there as they come flying out of turn.
Popped for speeding in.
Yeah, and here comes Butch Davis now.
Butch Davis going to relinquish 3rd place and see how far it is going to drop him.
Remember, it is very difficult to slow down for the cones at this track. I mean, you're coming directly off turn 3 and straight into pit road, and the cones are right on the wall there. It's going to be difficult for them to slow down as Butch Davis overshoots his pit box.
I was just going to say, it looked like he overshot his box from where I was looking at him.
That's the 3rd broadcast in a row that we've seen somebody overshoot their pits. Luis Gonzalez Nunez is going to be bringing it pit side next time by.
And now here come the top 2. Here come the leaders in now. 27 laps on those tires, and they have called it a stint.
That was very, very close there for Nate Siefka, trying to woe it down as close to the cones as he could. We'll see if he gets anything from it, but I don't think he will, as John Poole decided to stay out here.
Yeah, the champion.
And how about that pit in from Kieran Brughelli? He just closed the gap on Nunez from over a second back to right on top of him.
and he'll get that bad tire off. As you're right, everyone except our champion is elected to pit here on this lap.
As Chris Walker winning the race off pit road here. This is crucial, as Walker was behind going into pit road. He's going to be ahead coming out, as we see Nate Siefka there. Nunez has just come out of pit road as well. He's managed to get the jump on Butch Davis through the pit stop, so a lot of position changes going on here, and Butch Davis losing out big time there. That was because, yeah.
That sliding through the pit stall almost killed his race.
Siefka right now, he's right back on Chris Walker as Poole and Antonucci both come into the pits. Dan Brassington is currently our leader.
Yeah, going to get a bonus point for leading the lap here as he comes out of turn 2, I believe. Oh, turn 1.
Pit crew of the stop so far, though, going to Tim Bates, 8.3 seconds in the box.
Unfortunately, he's a lap down. He might get his lap back as when Dan Brazenton brings it in, but Bates on the back foot early on. I did get a message before the race started from Jeff Wubka. Storm passing through. He got a power outage where he lives, so unfortunately he's not able to make the call here tonight, as Chris Foyles is in pit road again, and Carl Burke is back in pit road again as well.
The battle for what is now going to be the lead really heating up as Siefka and Walker side by side as they head into turn 1. Nunez also fighting Davis in the background.
Yeah, Davis trying on the outside line on Nunez, and not going to make it work right now, as they're going to be side by side coming out of turn 1. All very close to the wall there for Butch Davis as they come flying down towards turn 2 and that tunnel turn.
And how about the battle for 5th right now? Bergelli and Brinson just throwing bombs at each other as they take it through the tunnel turn.
No love lost between these two either.
No love lost between those two, but there is respect.
Yeah.
You know, they do respect each other, but on the track, I guess the best way to put it is they're frenemies.
This is absolutely great stuff to watch. The top 3 pairs, 1, 2 in a battle with each other, 3, 4 in a battle, 5, 6, all right with each other. They're separated by about 3 or so seconds, but they are both in. All 3 of those pairs are in a very tight and heated contest for position.
Yeah, and the only driver not in a battle right now is this man, John Poole. Not really getting into anything right now. He already knows he's got the championship sewn up, so he doesn't really have to fight anything. So just relaxing back there in P7 and just seeing how this race pans out.
And that might be for the best thing, because we have seen, things go horribly wrong in, as Ronnie Osmer put it, turn 4. And for those of you who don't get the joke, Pocono is called the tricky triangle for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. And we're still waiting on an answer on tonight's trivia question. Turn 2 here is modeled after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway's 4 turns. Turn 3 is modeled after the turns at Milwaukee. What famous New Jersey track that has since closed is Turn 1 based on?
Yeah. So get your answers in very quickly, and
if you tonight's prize, a free paint scheme of the car of your choosing, other than the Audi LMP1. Not a fan of even looking at that template, but even if you're not an iRacing subscriber, you can choose the driver of your choice to receive that free paint scheme. Just need to tell us, be the first person to answer correctly what famous track from New Jersey is Turn 1 here at Pocono Raceway modeled after. And I am watching both the YouTube stream and the Facebook live stream, so first person to answer that question right will get a paint scheme on the car of their choice. If you're not an iRacing subscriber, why? That's the best way to put it. Why? I'll tell you what, you become an iRacing subscriber, and I'll paint your first 2 cars for free if you're a brand new member to iRacing.
I know why Ronnie retired now.
Did a cat jump on his back while he was driving?
No, that's your forte.
Right. Sorry.
No, Ronnie just made a huge announcement on the Top Fuel page you might want to take a look at.
Uh-oh.
No, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. As me and Frank can carry on calling the race while you're doing that, we've seen a big battle there between Gonzalez Nunez and Butch Davis down the long pond straight here, Frank. Looks like Butch Davis might have the legs on him this time, boy.
Yes, he does. It's very important to get that job done before you get into the quarter. It is very difficult. Not as much in turns 1 and 3, but definitely difficult to keep it held and wound up on the outside to complete a pass.
Yeah, Davis able to hold on through turn 2. Let's see if he can hold on towards turn 3, because here comes Nunez now. Gonna dive it down to the inside towards turn 3. Side by side, can Butch Davis hold on? That outside one, not the fastest. And Butch Davis able to hold on, but by the skin of his teeth there as they come down the long pond straight once again.
Yeah, but in this configuration of Pocono, that third lane up, that was a freshly paved strip. Not too long ago, Davis is in the wall.
And looks like it's going to bring out a caution here, and Brinson gets hit as well. Oh no, no caution going to come out there because it was on the inside line. Brinson not going to be happy with that one as the race continues, and oh dear.
Brinson now stuck in the middle of the circuit, and now we get the yellow flag.
Yeah, caution will fly now as Brinson came back up on the track to trigger the caution. And yeah,
that was just dreadful luck for Brinson. He just nowhere to go when Davis came back up the track.
Yeah, Brinson had nowhere to go. What are you saying, WoW2?
The in-sim chatter that I'm hearing.
I'm kind of glad I'm not on the track right now.
You had qualified. What was your qualifying time, just out of curiosity? Where would you have started?
I would have qualified. I would have started 9th. 10th, was it? Oh, yeah.
And Butch Davis not happy with Luis Gonzalez Nunez.
That was not his fault, though.
I'm just relaying what's going on in the local chatter, but I'm wondering. I need to go and try to contact someone. Bear with me. I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Okay, so we're going to go back and take a look and see what happened between Nunez and Butch Davis. We're going to get it right here, and looked like a bit of netcode there, Frank, between Butch Davis and Nunez.
Yeah, that was definitely. I mean, it may have, and I mean may have, clipped rear wheels. As I'm trying to look at it here on my screen here, see what I can see, but they may have clipped the rears. If not, no, that's netcode.
Yeah. So, not really a reason for tensions to get high here. I mean, this is a post-season, season-ending race, and not really anything to play for right now. Obviously, you want to win here. Obviously, Pocono is a very historic and special track, but nothing really on the line right now as the season pretty much all drawn up.
Yeah, true, but you're racing around somebody long enough, and you're both dead even. It's just really frustrating. And fortunately for the fast repair, Davis can get right back into it. But that was, God, that's a tough one to take. Racing for third, you've been together and close this entire race, and it all ends in smoke.
Absolutely. As we go back to the leader, that'll be Nate Seifert. Probably won't be too happy to see the first caution of the night come out right now, as he was just starting to stretch his legs over Chris Walker, but gonna have to do it all over again. Obviously, Nunez able to continue. I wonder if Nunez, actually, if it was netcode, he won't have damage, so he's going to be okay. Brigelli up in P4, and John Poole just relaxing back there in P5. Got nothing to worry about at this point.
Yeah, Poole really didn't have anything to worry about during that run. He had about a 4-second cushion in front and about a 3.5-second cushion behind him. So our champion just kind of riding as you would expect. But if anything, Nunez, it's difficult to say with netcode, but if anything, he might have a little bit of floor damage, which will tighten him up considerably.
Yeah, and staying off the racing line under caution here. Obviously, the caution is going to be a lot shorter now with the new rules that have come in. Scott Brinton back in pit road again, as he's going to make another pit stop here and get topped up on fuel and get some new tyres. Timothy Bates back in pit road again. He's just had his lucky dog, so he's back on the lead lap now. We've had 3 retirements already. We're down to, actually 4 retirements if you include me. We're down to 14 drivers left in the field here. That might be part of the reason why we're getting these long green flag runs here, Chris. Frank, sorry.
Yeah, no, it helps now with a big track, and it's not a big track like Daytona or Talladega Big, where the racing naturally brings everybody closer together. This is 3 very different corners, very fast circuit. It spreads everybody out, so that's also part of the reason why you're getting a lot of these long runs. That 38-lap run right there to open up the race.
So, Sam, to get back to what you had mentioned on the top fuel page, it's probably not what you're thinking it is.
Still good, though.
Oh, yeah, no, it's still good, but it's probably not as good as you think it is.
No, but it's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely. And for those of you wondering what we're doing, Ronnie got told as the green flag came out by the team owner that he's riding with the hauler for their Xfinity Series program down to Miami for this weekend's race. And should he miss the hauler leaving at 6 a.m., it's not going to be good. So Ronnie is actually on his way to his place right now to grab a bag, and he's going to sleep in the hauler tonight so he doesn't miss that ride.
I don't blame him.
I don't blame him in the least. I would have done the same thing.
It is one hell of a way to ensure you don't miss it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we're back under green flag conditions here. We've got NLR 1, 2, and 3 as we've got Nate Seifert in the lead. Chris Walker in second and Kieran Begelli up to third place. Now here comes Paul Crumry as he's moved his way up to fourth place. Luis Gonzalez Nunez in fifth. Where did Paul Crumry come from? Because he was pretty far back when we went back to green.
May have been a 2-tire pit stop, and I've been watching here Nunez. He has been falling like a stone. I know it's only 1 lap, but I'm sure there probably is some damage on that big pink machine.
Yeah, as Nunez now under pressure from Mark Walker as they make their way through turn 1. I want to give a big shout out to one of the people that's been in the chat for quite a number of races here with Top Fuel. It's Deborah Corrier. I believe she's supporting Dan Brazenton, and I'm not really sure what is going on with my software.
Yes, she is. Hi, Deb.
Yeah, so good to see you supporting us as always. She says, thanks for the awesome racing.
And also got to give a shout out to Senior Ivan Rodriguez Gomez, saying "Go Luis, El Rapido."
That's his nickname.
Gracias. And still waiting on an answer for tonight's trivia question: what famous New Jersey track that is now unfortunately closed is turn 1 here at Pocono based on? And I'll give you a hint, ladies and gentlemen, it's not Flemington.
That's not Riverside.
We gave our Top Fuel top tip earlier.
Not wrong. Anyway, back to the racing here. We've seen Paul Crumry under pressure from John Poole now. Poole's decided he fancies a bit more juice out of that engine and finds himself right on the tail end of that Budweiser number 3 as Nunez still there in 6th place. Mark Walker in 7th. Here comes Butch Davis now to the inside of the 00. And Butch Davis is on a mission here, Tony.
Yeah.
Oh, either one.
Go ahead.
To say that Butch was upset when that caution came out would be like saying my last heart attack was nothing special.
As look who's right behind right now. Oh, this could get nasty.
The thing is, Butch has done this enough that he knows how to keep a level head. And I'm hoping that, he doesn't just, Kyle Busch the situation. Get your hate mail coming, folks. It's Tony Trapasso, Weedsport, New York. P.O. Box OU 812.
I don't like the 18 either. Oh, good. We don't have a number 18 in the field. That's good.
Do need to, somebody fart? Oh, hey, Byron.
Hey, bro.
So, I'm not sure if you were watching before, but we had a couple of technical issues. That's why I'm in the booth tonight. So, welcome to the booth, Byron. Glad you could make it.
Yep, finally got home, finally got situated, finally got some food in my belly, finally able to fire it up and see how we're doing. I see there must have been one heck of a wreck, because I see you out 45 laps ago with a whole bunch of others.
Oh, no.
I didn't even start the race.
Oh.
Sam didn't take the green. Because he was up here partying with me and Frank.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a better party,
Slightly missed the grid.
Just slightly. I was on the wall to the left a little bit. But anyway, like I said, we had a bit of a technical glitch to start things off, so I came in and saved the day, because go me. But we got our top 3 here. We've got Nate Siefka still leading this piece, Chris Walker in 2nd, and Kieran Brigelli in 3rd. No Limit Racing 1, 2, 3. These guys, they look like they've got this track pretty much nailed down at the moment here, Frank.
Yeah, they do, and Walker is nailed down to the gearbox of Siefker. He was right on him, less than 1/10 of a second between them going into turn 1. And then again, same issue, less than 1/10 of a second going between them going into 3. And Brugnelli now is also pulling out quite a gap, extending himself away from Crumry in 4th.
Well, the biggest thing you got to look at, too, it's No Limit Racing 1, 2, 3, and 5.
John Poole doesn't really affiliate himself with No Limit Racing. He just rides with them. He calls the room that he stays in the Merry Band of Misfits.
Pretty good description.
Yeah, take a look at Scott Brinton here running in P9 just ahead of Johnny Antonucci. He was involved in that first wreck of the night with but it was just to get you up to speed here, Byron. Scott Brinton, an innocent bystander in this one. Nunez and Butch Davis, as we go to them right now, going to be side by side, coming to blows through turn 1. Scott Brinton came round the corner just as that was happening. Butch came down the track, had nowhere to go, and just got absolutely blasted.
Yeah, it sounds like it could Sam, pretty much sums up Scotty Brinson's season this year. Every year in some league, there's one guy that's going to catch a car to the face all season long, by no act of his own. It's happened to me in Paskies. It's happened to Kevin in Paskies. Sam, it's happened to you over in NASCOM. And this year, it happens to be Scotty's turn here.
I mean, the amount of facial reconstruction surgeries I've had. Yeah, the amount of facial reconstruction surgeries I've had over the past 2 years is unreal.
Yeah, well, that's why we finally talked you into wearing a full-face helmet.
Yeah, those 60s style helmets don't work anymore.
Well, we need to hide his face. We don't want to scare the spectators.
Well, that's
facts.
That's why I don't have a face. That's why I don't broadcast with a face cam.
Hey, can we make your full-face helmet look like Jason from Friday the 13th?
No, I don't need. I'm that bad. I don't need to wear a costume for Halloween. It's great.
Actually, I want a helmet to make me look like Michael Myers.
Done.
Thank you.
When's your next race that you're actually going to be able to make?
I am hoping Saturday night NASCOM.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I just got back from a
Well, guess
tour
what?
around Georgia, and work may decide that they're going to send me back out again. So I'm hoping I'll be home on Saturday.
Guess what, you short bus driving idiot?
Huh.
That's an open face helmet.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, please. Oh, you can't do anything about it then, huh?
Oh, wait, no, they're still running the old ARCA car. Never mind. I was thinking they had gone to the new 80s cars.
No, but anyway, lap 52 has begun. We've got a nice big line of cars here, Frank, as John Poole looking to the back of Paul Crumright again. It looks like these guys are not finding it easy to pass each other at this moment.
Yeah, no, and Crumray, you can tell he's holding Poole up just ever so slightly. Davis has gotten away from Nunez. Nunez and Walker are starting to get into their own battles right up there at the top of the screen. But you can tell Davis has the better car of the two in front of him, and I would not be surprised.
Oh, Crumright. Oh.
Hell of a save.
And Davis had to let off big time, and that's gotten Nunez back around Davis.
You know what I have noticed here, it's easy for these cars to draft up on each other, especially going on that long, landing strip
Long
of the
pond
runway.
straightaway.
But when they get to the corners, I mean, they will have drafted up, but there's just no air to hold their tires traction down on those front wings when they get around the corner.
And with this new update, they upped the amount of dirty air. So it's just making these cars even harder to drive once you get up behind somebody. It doesn't seem to be affecting Walker, who I don't think has been more than 3/10 behind Siefker this entire race.
No.
Well, the new update came out when?
Last week?
Okay, for the dirty air?
Yes.
So I'm wondering if this setup was not already done before that update.
No, he did it
Well,
after. He did it after.
Here's the other thing, and we already found this out tonight with Kieran Brigelli. Flat spots on the tires are a thing now.
Obviously, he won't have them on the tires now. He's just already been for pit.
Oh yeah,
for
no,
new
but
tires.
we saw it earlier. We saw it earlier when we went on board with him that there was a mark on those tires, and Brigelli was fighting the daylights out of that car. So
Check
my
leaders,
hat's
boys.
off
Chris
to him.
Walker's making a run at Nate Siefker. Nate Siefker having to do the Indy Snake down the straightaway just to get him off of him.
Chris Walker has been all over Nate Siefker all race long.
And Tony, just to finish your point on Brigelli was fighting just to stay up in 6th and 7th. He has actually cleared 4th place Poole now. The Poole ran a couple of tenths quicker than he did on that last lap, but Brigelli has definitely shown some more speed since the first round of pit stops.
Business just picked up coming through turn 3, and Walker had to relinquish the spot or else wad his teammate, because he had the line and just could not get the pass done as they headed down the Long Pond straightaway side by side.
Only one caution here tonight at Pocono, and that was, again, if you're just joining us, the incident between Luis Gonzalez Nunez, Butch Davis, and Scott Brinson. We're on lap 56 of 160, getting steadily towards halfway in this 400-mile race, and we've got side-by-side action between Mark Walker and Butch Davis. As if you want a good example of flat-spotted tyres, go and take a look at Paul Crumright there, Byron.
Yeah, flashing back to Paul Crumright, it looks like he put the parachute out behind that wing. So after that little, Code Brown moment coming off the corner where he made an excellent save, he just does not have the traction to keep up with him.
Right, but what he's saying is if you go to the gyro cam, which is something we found out earlier, as they go through the corners, you can see the flat spot.
He's got it right in the dead center of both front tires.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I am looking at that, and you are correct.
We'll take another look at the left front. Oh, that's the left rear. Never mind. No, that's not right. Wait, I'm looking for it. There we go. You can see right there, right in the middle of the tyre, there is a flat spot there somewhere. You just have to look very closely for it. But
you'll see that it looks like the road dots as it flashes by, but there are flat spots on that tire.
Butch Davis just went into the pits here, guys.
Yeah, bringing it down for a green flag pit stops. We are in green flag stop territory, so that is probably a scheduled stop there for Butch Davis. Let's see if he can make it into his pit stop without sliding through it again. And yes, he does. But he had to make a bit of a sketchy move to get in there, though.
Actually, not as much. There's only 19 laps on these tires and on this set of fuel. And Siefker and Walker, the top group did 28 laps. Poole did 29 on his first set.
Absolutely. So we're seeing the Indy Snake
Butch
being
Davis
deployed.
bringing it pit side.
Yeah, we just said that.
I'm not live. Sorry.
Ignore the man behind the curtain. And
Talk
Butch
about
Davis
$1
being
short
popped
and
for
a day late.
speeding. Butch Davis serving a penalty right now, so he has been popped for speeding under green. So that might be his race done right now.
How important is it to hit your marks? Do not speed in. Hit your marks in the pit for the the shortest possible pit stop, and don't get caught speeding out.
Yeah,
Well-
Davis definitely serving a penalty. He's been in the stall and in the lane in total for 90 seconds now.
Yeah, as I did mention earlier in the race that the distance between turn 3 and the commitment cones in pit road is very short, so you need to pick your time when to slow down out of turn 3. I mean, probably the best place to slow down would be to go low through turn 3 and slow down halfway through, just so you can make it down to the regulated speed at that commitment cone. Otherwise, you're just going to get a penalty every time.
Well, you're flirting with disaster if you don't do it that way.
Caution on the track.
And that would be Dan Brazington in trouble. And let's go and take a look and see what happened to Brazington. And that's not Dan Brazington. That's Dan Brazington. Are we going to see it? No, we're not. Okay.
He had gotten into the wall coming out of turn 1 and then essentially just rode it the entire way down the Long Pond Straight.
Wow.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say that was a flat tire.
Well,
Looked like he was trying to get it up on the wall and do an ollie down there.
the IndyCars don't have the new tire model on them yet, so
Yeah, no.
They do if they've got flat spots.
He just overcooked it coming out and just took too much track coming out and just ran it into the wall.
Well, then he did the gentlemanly thing and held it up there so that he didn't come back down the track and ruin somebody else's night. So hats off to Dan Brazington for doing the right thing. And I envy whoever just did that.
me.
Brat.
You know it ain't me.
Oh, yeah, no, because your wife would kick your shoulders up around your butt so high that your son would feel it.
She'd hit me so hard, next future generation of my kids would still be hurting.
I'm sure there was an insult in there somewhere as the entirety of the field comes down into pit lane. Siefker leads them down. Only staying out. The entire field is in.
Frank, you have fallen in with a group of decrepit old broadcasters here that just do nothing but like to tug on each other's, chains. And, that came out wrong. That came out wrong.
I resemble that
Okay,
remark.
hold on. Frank, let me explain to you the way that it'll actually make sense. With friends like us, you'll never need a proctologist.
That's correct.
Well, there you go.
So Nate Siefker winning the race off pit road, followed by Chris Walker, then Kieran Beghelli. You got John Poole out in 4th and Nunez out in P5. P6 is Scott Brinson. 7th is Paul Crumride, then Johnny Antonucci, Timothy Bates, Colin Scott, then Mark Walker losing a few spots in pit road, and then Kevin O'Brien. Dan Brazington still towing, so he's going to be on the back foot by some margin, I believe, as Butch Davis deciding to stay out to get his lap back.
Not that
Be right
bad,
back,
it's-
gentlemen. Going to jump down and get a conversation with one of the drivers real quick with a question I have.
Sorry, Frank, what were you about to say?
Not that bad a decision by Davis. Only had about 2 laps of anger on those tires. Really not a bad decision at all.
Yeah, just got a message from Brazington. Said, still got a fast repair, just waiting on the tow.
And I dare say that if anybody would know the answer to this question, it would be our very good friend, Mr. Ernie Ludwig, who has just joined us in the YouTube stream chat. Ernie, tonight's trivia question: the track here at Pocono, each corner is designed after a famous racing circuit that came before it. Turn 2, Indy. Turn 3, Milwaukee. What now closed New Jersey track is Turn 1 modeled after?
Yep. So get your answers in. You have until the end of the race to get those answers in. We will reveal the answer at the end of the race.
And shout out to our good friend Damon Martinez, who just joined the Facebook live chat. Damon, same question to you.
What up, Damo?
When are you going to come back and play with us?
Big hello to the 12 people watching on the YouTube chat and the people watching on Facebook as well. Once again, just want to say a big thank you to everybody that has subscribed to us over the near 3 years that we've been broadcasting here at ESPN, and our former identity, both for broadcasting.
Winning.
Just big thanks to everybody that's supported us over the near 3 years and getting us to that 1,000 milestone, onwards and upwards from here.
Very much so, and if you too would like to join the ESPN family of broadcasters, as our newest colleague Frank has chose to do, feel free to find either Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett or Byron Rodney or myself, or Adam Chapman on the ESPN Facebook page. Just,
leave a message there for us. We will get back to you as soon as humanly possible.
If not sooner.
Frank, bring us back to green, sir.
All right, coming out of corner number 3, Siefker has chosen the outside lane, Walker on the inside. Pace car peels off, and we are back underway here at Pocono as Siefker gets a great restart, and Poole has actually jumped Brigelli.
Great restart there by John Poole, showing why he is the season 10 champion right now, and he's going to be right up on the back of Walker and Siefker as they come out of turn 1. These corners really do confuse me.
It's turn 4, leave it alone.
Yeah,
right. Ask Ronnie Osmer. It's turn 4.
And shout out to Mr. Ernie Ludwig for getting tonight's trivia question correct. Pocono International Speedway, the 3 turns are designed after 3 historic racetracks that came before it. Turn 2 is modeled after the 4 corners at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Turn 3 is modeled after the Milwaukee Speedway. And Ernie Ludwig, the first person to come up with the answer for tonight's trivia question, Turn 1 is modeled after the now defunct Trenton Speedway in Trenton, New Jersey.
And if you want to drive that track, actually, if you get an old Xbox 360 game called, I believe it was Indy 500 Evolution. It was a game that took place in like the 60s and 70s of IndyCar racing. They actually have it in that, and it was an incredibly fun track to drive, I must say.
You can get it on the PC as well, I believe. So
yes,
that's cool.
And the other little trivia deal, because I did mention that no, it was not Flemington. Does anybody know what is currently sitting at the start-finish line of the old Flemington Speedway?
If it's anything like Riverside, it's a mini mall.
Close. It is the hinge to the dock plate of a Walmart.
Only a little bit to answer your question. Unfortunately, we don't do any merchandise, but if we did do merchandise, yes, you would get a t-shirt.
You're not getting a t-shirt, sir, but you are getting a free paint scheme of the car of your choice.
Yeah, and stuff.
Anything except the Audi LMP1. Because that...
Yeah.
We got a battle for the lead here, guys, as Walker looks to the outside of Siefker going into one. Can he hold it going through?
Oh, it's very wide. Oh, that was close to the wall. Wow.
Yeah, turn one. The exit of one funnels. It gets very, very tight on the exit of one.
Safer
He's
barriers.
right on him.
Still right there as they come out of turn 2. Chris Walker, he's not giving his teammate an inch here, even though this is the last race of the season, pressure's off, and all that good stuff. As I said at the top of the broadcast, Chris Walker is desperate for his first win since 2018.
Yeah, he has been glued to Siefker's bumper the entire gearbox, the entire race, and that is not an exaggeration.
Those two, they're teammates in name only, because I can guarantee you the only team rules that racing team has is guys don't kill each other.
Luis Gonzalez Nunez putting a move on. Kieran Brigelli coming towards the tunnel turn. Not going to make it work this time by. Had a big run on him though. Nunez has already dispatched Scott Brimson as Chris Walker now gets the inside line on Nate Siefker through turn 3. Can Siefker...
God, that
Wow. And that was the thing, is Walker has done that numerous times, but in order to not wad his teammate and himself, he's had to back out of it so that he doesn't put Siefker into the wall on turn exit.
You know, that third line here, as I mentioned before, it was repaved. I would say, what is this? This is the... I think it's the 2011 version of this circuit.
Yeah, this is the legacy version.
Yeah, and it was 2009 that you see that dark strip right in the middle of the track. It was put in, or was paved over to give a little bit of extra grip, and immediately the line moved from right down on the bottom to right there on that strip, and that's what allowed Siefker to get right past Walker again.
Obviously, on the new version of the track that is available on iRacing, they do not have that stripe anymore because they completely repaved the track about a year or two ago. So, yeah, that stripe not really there anymore on the new version.
You know, it completely reconfigured turn 1 too. It doesn't go the line doesn't go all the way down to the grass anymore.
Well,
going through turn 1.
The other thing too is they added safer barriers to the inside of the track on the new stand.
Yes,
I'm not a fan of it.
No.
I'd like to be able to go skating across the grass at 200 miles an hour.
Oh, I think Brigelli just hit the wall there coming out of 3.
Oh, there's no. You think he did, and that car's narrowed up by about a foot.
So Brigelli in a bit of trouble there. We are very much closer to halfway in this race now. Lap 71 of 160 here. As we still have a lot of racing left to go, and Chris Walker looks like he might have burned his tyres up already as John Poole right on his gearbox now, Frank.
Yeah, Poole has been catching these two, and Poole has been running alone. He's bringing Nunez with him, but it definitely does look like Walker has either upset the car in some way, shape, or form, or just gotten out of line, or you're right, he may have lost those tires.
Yeah, there's Poole looking for a way by, as is Nunez. Brigelli just getting a bit reckless there on the outside line. Brigelli's struggling, didn't really turn many laps of practice over the last couple of days, so that might be what's coming back to bite him, as Brinson running a pretty measured race. Here comes John Poole to the outside of Chris Walker, not going to work through the tunnel turn, has to regroup and come back at him again through turn 3. Will he make the move? But here comes Nunez now, going to try the move on John Poole through turn 3. Is Nunez going to get the job done? Remember, John Poole is on that black strip as they come out of turn 3, side by side down the long pond straight, as John Poole will hold on for one more lap at least.
Yeah, Brigelli might just have a car that works better in clean air. Brigelli, we mentioned during the last stint, he had gotten about a second cushion both in front and behind. It was running perfectly fine in third. He's gotten back in traffic and he's had a lot of trouble this stint.
Yeah, as we're still looking at Kieran Brigelli there, just he's got Mark Walker right behind him. Remember Mark Walker, a very famous win this season at Las Vegas. Just used the fuel strategy to absolute perfection and just shocked everybody. So no surprise that he's up there in the top 10 right now. We've got only 12 drivers left on the lead lap. Dan Brazenton, Butch Davis, Chris Foyles. Actually, Dan Brazenton and Butch Davis, the only cars still running a lap down. Chris Foyles, Carl Burke and Ronnie Osmer, all three of them are out of this race as it stands right now.
Yes, and you mentioned it. You mentioned Walker's win at Vegas coming down to fuel mileage last year. This race did come down to fuel.
Big wreck there between Mark Walker and Kieran Bergelli. Sorry to cut you off there, Frank, but big wreck and no caution again. Oh my goodness me, that looked terrifying.
I'll be honest, I missed it.
Yeah, that was by far. Oh man, I just watched it again. I don't know why, but I did. That is definitely a thank God this is a simulator moment. As you just saw it, didn't you?
Yeah, and Walker took a nice little ride going down as well.
Caught the safer
My
barrier
goodness.
to the face, and then caught a teeth full of Armco.
Yeah, and that was caused by Bergelli getting loose on that turn to rumble strip, and that's not the first time he's done that here tonight, as Bergelli is in pit road, I believe. No, he's just coming out now.
Yes, he's just used his fast repair.
And he's going to come out right in front of the leader. Let's see how this one works out, because Bergelli, is he going to let Sifka goodbye, or is he going to back them up into the rest of the pack? We'll find out once Sifka gets to him, but them being teammates, you've got to think there's going to be a bit of a...
Yeah, you would have to. You'd have to
camaraderie.
assume there's going to be a little bit of give and take there, yes.
That was an ugly hit.
yeah. Both of them took a shot, man, I swear.
Oh yeah, and then Walker took a second one as he nose first into the Armco on the inside of the track, and Mark Walker has put it on the hauler.
Not surprising. I mean, Mark Walker did say before the race that he has a storm rolling through where he lives as well, so maybe this wreck was an excuse for him to kind of pack it up and brace for that storm that's coming through.
Yeah, safe bet.
That would leave us down with 13 runners at this stage. Butch Davis and Dan Brassington, the only two not on the lead lap. Bergelli doesn't appear to be far away from joining those two off the lead lap.
I mean, he's on fresher tyres and fuel now, so he's got time to pull away from these guys. And it looks like that is the case, as John Poole, they're now under pressure from Scott Brinson. Brinson has found some speed in those old tyres. And now putting John Poole under pressure through turn one. Not going to make it work right now, but he has got around Nunez. So Brinson trying to make some headway in this race now.
Just something to keep in mind, if this graphic is correct, Nunez, Antonucci, Scott, and O'Brien did not take tires on the last stop. So those guys are on 40-lap-old tires. And I believe Bates is on 38-lap-old tires, as well as Brassington, if this graphic is correct.
Depends.
Yeah, well,
That graphic is not correct.
I know, I was going to say, I'm assuming it's not, because that seems a little excessive, but...
The oldest tires on the track right now belong to Butch Davis at 19.
Okay.
Yeah, and obviously he was the man that was stuck in pit road when they second caution came out, so he will be on those older tyres, but only by a couple of laps, might I add. So these guys took it down pit road under that caution, and it's been a while since that caution. We're only 2 laps away from halfway, guys. Predictions on the thoughts on the race so far?
I would say a little bit easier to call than the truck race that we did on Monday night.
A lot easier than the sprint car race from last night, too.
Yeah, I was having some problems with the sprint car race from last night, but it's
This
looking
one-
like it's going to come down to either Nate Siefker or Chris Walker. And Siefker won the last time Top Fuel came here, as I mentioned right at the top of the broadcast. So I would put it on Siefker. I believe he's going to take it.
Sifka looking for his second win in a row. Remember last week he won at Milwaukee. But this man that we're showing on the screen right now, Scott Brinson, never ever count him out. He's a very fast driver when it comes to Pocono. Never going to count him out at all. Obviously, we've got John Poole in third place. We'd be stupid to count him out, obviously being the new champion right now. And Nunez still sticking with these guys, not really letting them get away, as he's currently occupying that last spot in the top 5 very comfortably ahead of Paul Crummer right now.
Absolutely. And if you are Nate Siefker or Chris Walker, you can send the dead fish after this race is over to that's Frank Marchese, care of WCBS New York.
Imagine if a dead fish actually turned up there, and yeah.
The worst part is I haven't been there in about 2.5 months, so they're going to get a dead fish and have no idea why.
Oh no, but it's going to be addressed to you.
Oh no!
They're going to say he hasn't been here for 2.5 months.
Yeah, so they're going to get a dead fish. Why the hell is Frank getting dead? Why is Frank getting fish sent here?
Wrong name. Just one of you guys can take it. I'm just wrong name.
Yeah. Anyway, this top 5 not really getting away from each other. It looks like Chris Walker's starting to reel in Siefke here, Frank. It's as the time run goes on, it looks like Siefke starting to struggle on those older tires compared to Chris Walker.
Yeah, and Siefke just ran a lap that was 2/10 slower than Walker. We'll see what they hit this time by. Oh, geez, just about the same. Siefke had a 5:45 and Walker hit a 5:32. So those two just about even with each other as they've been the entirety of this race.
Well, the thing is too, Chris Walker is starting to have to deal with John Poole. Poole not really giving him a ton of pressure, but the one thing you'll notice is Siefke gets through turn 1 a lot better than Walker can. Walker gets off of turn 3 and down the front straightaway better than Siefke does.
Well, I've noticed that Chris Walker during practice the open practice we had last night, Chris Walker was struggling with the setup a lot more than Chris Walker was, than Nate Siefke was. So I'm guessing he's not fully confident with that setup compared to his teammate, and that's probably what's working in Siefke's favor right now. It's Brinson now putting a move on John Poole for third.
Yeah, Poole just pushed out way wide coming out of 1, allowing Brinson, who had finished second, who was in line to finish second the last time we were here. But again, fuel strategy. Him and Rick Ravon, who had dominated the race, leading 80 of 120 laps, both succumbed to a shortage of fuel, both pit inside the last 10 laps, and gave Siefke the win, who won it on fuel strategy.
So Brinson now up to third place and doing pretty well to keep John Poole behind him. Remember, these two, one's a 4-time champion, which is Scott Brinson, and Poole the new champion. So both of them champions in their own right, and battling out. That's pretty good to see. Champions new and old just going at it right there, Tony.
Right, and getting back to what we were talking about, Brinson, just, if it wasn't for bad luck this season, Scotty wouldn't have had any at all. And John Poole had things just go his way. So my hat's off to both of them. And as my grandfather used to say, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We'll see them all in season 11. Well,
yeah, 11.
11.
You were right the first time.
But getting back to the whole Siefke-Walker thing, if you watch the gap between them coming out of turn 1, Siefke stretches it out, Walker reels him back in by the time they get to turn 3.
Now that gap is the closest it's been since the drop of the green flag. So, but since we came back from the second caution, so Chris Walker, we said he might have burned his tyres up early. I think I'm actually going to go back on that. I think Chris Walker was actually saving his tyres.
Trying to let him heat cycle.
Yeah.
Could have been, but we're getting to that stage right now. They've put 25 laps on these tires. Again, the beginning stage, they only put 28 on them before they came into pit. So we're getting into that pit window right now as Butch Davis hits the lane, being one lap down, last car on track. But this could bring the rest of them in.
What just happened to Poole?
Oh,
Yeah,
showing
we
Poole
just-
out, and he's back now.
He's back.
Okay.
That just messed up my cameras, but anyway. Thanks,
It
John.
gave me a heart attack. Thanks,
Yeah.
John. What the hell?
God forbid you need another one of them. Anyway.
Actually, the ticker's been doing pretty good since the accident.
That's good. Good.
Hey, it's that guy. He's back.
Yeah, let's try this without the inconvenience of a Windows update, which, by the way, changed all of my sound settings, so everything was invalid, and I had to go reset everything.
Invalid.
Yeah, my Blue Yeti microphone and it had a second option for it, and I'm like, what the hell?
So it was invalid for the invalid.
Yeah,
Byron,
basically.
Byron blew a Yeti.
Oh, you're funny.
So you can get your hate mail coming. That's Tony Trapasso, care of Weedsport, New York.
P.O. Box OU812.
Anyway, back to the races. Scott
Go
Britson
back to
putting...
dumpster diving for ham scraps, you 6-piece chicken with nobody.
Chris Walker into the wall there. Brinson going to have the advantage here going into turn 3. Just noticed that while Tony was messing around with his sound bites as Colin Scott brings it to pit road. Chris Walker's going to be a sitting duck here now, I think.
And Walker looked like he held it pretty nicely off of 3. Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it definitely slowed him up as here comes Brinson going down low into turn 1. He sent it, but Walker's got it wound up on the outside.
Walker backs out of it to stay off of him.
Yes, he does. And now that brings John Poole right into this battle here.
And he's going to go for a 2 for here through turn 2. This is going to be a bold move by John Poole as they come out of turn 2. Brinson holds on, but John Poole moves up to 3rd place. That was a very ballsy move there by John Poole.
You gotta
why you're
wonder
a
if
champion.
Chris didn't pick up some damage when he popped the wall like he did.
He did.
Oh, he did. You know, you take a look at his speed in the draft, and he's only pulling 110, whereas everybody else is north of 115.
Now, Brinson's up to 2nd place. He's worked hard to get there. Does he have the car underneath him to get up to Nate Sievka? Sievka is quite a ways up the road now. Can Brinson somehow close that gap before the pit stops? We'll find out. But Paul Crumright in pit road right now as he's just leaving his pit box. But here comes Sievka to pit road. Followed.
Poole had a moment.
Yeah, big moment.
Big moment out of 3.
Yeah, Sievka, Walker, and Gonzalez all going to bring it down pit road. Brinson stays out. Poole stays out. So Brinson playing the strategy game already. Dan Brazenton going to bring it down too. Johnny Antonucci in pit road as well as Brazenton has a moment going into pit road as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if Poole was trying to come in, spun the tires, I guess, trying to woe it down.
That's exactly what it looked like. He hit his brake
and
bias set wrong.
And trying to save it. He had to stay out at that point.
He had his brake bias set wrong, it almost locked him up, and had to quickly jump back on the loud pedal to avoid from dying, shall we
Scotty
say.
Brinson bringing it pit side. It's going to be interesting to see where he cycles out versus Nate Sievker.
John Poole stays out for another lap. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's that kind of making me rethink what thought had happened.
Yeah. It might have
He
just
flashes
caught the
by
wrong
Johnny Antonucci, who just came out of pit road.
Cameron O'Brien just making his way out of pit road. So John Poole up to the lead. Timothy Bates up to 2nd. Brinson in 3rd. Oh, actually, he might.
Well, here's the thing. If a caution comes out because somebody steps on their own junk coming off of pit road, Poole's in the catbird seat.
Yeah, as Sievka blows by Brinson coming out of pit road, as does... Actually, no, Chris Walker does not get by Brinson out of pit road as John Poole brings it to pit road.
He's going to get him now, though.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Timothy Bates in pit road. As Frank just mentioned, Chris Walker getting around Brinson, but Brinson going to try and come back in a minute as quickly as possible. Brinson on the freshest tyres as Chris Walker very, very close to the wall again through turn 2 there, Tony.
Yeah, you know, we talk about drivers changing the flavor of their fire suit.
Just did it again.
I think I just changed the flavor of mine watching this thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know, one of those guys that, you know, we talk about all the time, running up front. You know, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. You know, talk about guys that are past due for a breakthrough victory here in Top Fuel Racing. You know, Chris Walker's name has got to be at the top of that list.
Yeah, I mean, he's not won a race in, over 2 years now, so he's got to be absolutely chomping at the bit for one right now. Scott Brinson has not won a race since Gateway at the start of the season. Gonzalez...
Well, another name that comes to mind that hasn't won, I don't believe has won yet, is Paul Crumry.
Oh, no, he won at Iowa back in 2018 as well, so...
Okay.
He's another
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Unfortunately, we didn't broadcast that race, so he's holding that against us. But I don't blame him.
And Chris Walker is just flirting with that safer barrier every lap, coming off a 1 and coming off a 2.
And
I've
Brinson's
been
still
watching that battle with Scotty Brinson and Chris Walker, and I'm telling you, they have swapped positions 3 times in a lap and a half.
Yeah, but while these two are fighting, Seifker is slowly but surely just trotting away from all 3 of them. Up to a 4.5-second lead now is Seifker.
And you saw the professionalism between Brinson and Walker there. They were side by side through the tunnel turn, and neither of them giving each other an inch, but they still both made it through unharmed as they're both now coming up to Butch Davis. Nunez still right there as well after the pit stops as well, so he is holding strong and has actually jumped John Poole through the pit stop, so Nunez might still be in with a shout here as Butch Davis going to move out of the way of Chris Walker. He does, but might just... Oh, there goes Benson there to the inside of Butch Davis. So Davis out of the way of the leaders.
But what's going to happen with Nunez and...
No, got around him.
Yeah, but keep your eye on this one because Butch Davis was livid earlier.
Yeah, but he's. I think he's just accepted the situation for what it is. It's just looking back at Kieran Beghelli, he was saying earlier, Frank, that he's got a good car and clean air. He's definitely got that clean air right now. Do you reckon he's going to use that to his advantage and close up to this top 5?
One would think so. I mean, he just ran a 43.574, 0.3 quicker than the guy behind him, but still a 0.5 second off of the car ahead of him, who has draft.
You
Put
gotta
that
wonder.
qualifier in there.
You gotta wonder if Chris Walker and Scotty Brinson stop battling, just jump into line and conga line it. Will they, Cat? Could that draft actually cut the lead of Nate Seifker?
Once they're out of the draft, it's pretty difficult to catch another car, but they're going to try. What they do need, though, is a caution, and with the amount of drivers that are left on track, we still have 13 left on track. It's
Oh, by the way,
unlikely.
where are we at cautions?
2.
Looks like I'm going to win the under there, Tony.
It's still early.
There's still 62 laps left.
Plenty of time to get the over in.
Cautions,
As we've seen time and time again over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, once again, folks, send that hate mail.
Looked like Chris Walker might have tagged the wall again coming out of turn 1. We'll see how his car reacts coming through turn 2. Not doing too badly. Might have just scraped it slightly, but definitely not going to help if he's that close to the barriers all the time there, Frank.
You know, but you can tell he's really pushing that car. He came off really high off of turn 2 as well. Not nearly as high as Brinson, not nearly as high as Walker. Same thing coming off 3. Walker is really pushing that car right now, trying to get away from Brinson and catch Seifker, who's now opened up a 5-second lead after the pit cycle.
Yeah, unless there's some serious junk stepping going on, I don't see Siefker backing up one little bit. He's going to squeeze every bit of advantage he can out of it. But, the great equalizer, that caution.
Brugnelli's in the pits, guys.
Yeah, I just noticed that. And is he out of the car?
It sure it looks like...
He's got a new front wing. He must have tagged the wall somewhere. We've got to go back to Rigetti. I'm going to go on a camera there just to see if he's in his car, because I'm not sure if he is. He's not in the car. Rigetti has called it a night. So unfortunately there for Kieran Rigetti. Either that or he's ran to the bathroom. I don't know.
Watching through right now, Brugnelli coming through 3, and he catches the wall out of 3 and just puts it in the pits. He broke his steering. His hand is way right hand down on the steering, so he popped the wall pretty good coming out of turn 3. And whether or not he's out of the car and done or just waiting on repair time, he's going to be sitting there for a minute.
And chatter coming over the radio right now. Kevin O'Brien, not a happy camper,
to say the least.
You heard that then, Byron?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, big move there through turn 2 for Scott Brinson. Going to sail it through and get second place away from Chris Walker. That was a great move for turn 2. You don't really see those moves happen, get pulled off very often.
And nobody die. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Generally, when you see somebody pull that move going through 2, both cars don't make it out in one piece.
Now, I want to mention, guys, the new feature that's on these cars. They can mess with the ARBs now. They can mess with the weight jacker. This adds a new element to a fixed series. It kind of takes the shine away from it being a fixed series. What's your take on it?
My take on it is it gives the driver the in-car adjustments that they have on the track in a fixed series. And we know this from when we do our endurance series races as a team for Team ESPN. I can drive a setup for me that is perfect, fast, and stable, but it's junk for you. And it all boils down to your driving style versus my driving style. And this allows the driver to take that fixed setup that maybe his driving style doesn't quite suit, and then bring it to something that's more suitable for him with the steering bias, the brake bias adjustment, the anti-roll bar, and the weight jacker. That, to me, that is the simplest adjustments for a fixed series that can help all these drivers. As Scotty Brinson, gets it loose off that corner, hit the curb.
Yeah, big moment for Scott Brinson. Going to lose 3 spots in the space of a corner there. Big moment there for the 14, and that's allowed Chris Walker, Gonzalez, Nunez, and John Poole all sail on by. You got to think that he's going to have to regroup and try and get past these guys. These 4 been battling out for the best part of a lap and a half now.
Yeah, but to finish my thought on that, it takes a fixed series, makes the driver adjust the car to his driving style within the fixed series, which just to me makes better racing. That's just my opinion.
It can lead to better racing, but it also can lead to newer drivers that aren't sure exactly what they're doing. They're going to be out to lunch compared to the guys that know how to adjust the car as the fuel load wears off. You might a perfect example, Sammy, you remember when we were running IndyCar's open sets with the one league with the guys from Canada there. We'd start with a full load of fuel, ARB cranked all the way to, I think it was -20, and by the time the fuel burned off, we're all the way to +20 or vice versa, and I forget which way it goes. But for somebody that isn't used to having to do that as the race goes on, it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be very frustrating. You're like, well, why am I so far out to lunch? Everybody's supposed to have the same setup as I do. Well, they do and they don't.
Yeah, Frank, what's your take on it?
Honestly, for me at least, the fixed setups this last season were just very, very tight, and they got very, very tight very, very quick. And to be able to adjust that is definitely a big help. But as Tony was saying, you got to know how to adjust it. You have to know what you're doing. As Poole goes for second here into the tunnel turn, it'll take it. But yeah, it's an element that will definitely help get a little bit more enjoyment out of the fixed series.
And to back that point up, it's going to force the drivers, it's going to force that learning curve. You're going to have to learn what adjustments do to a car, and to force a learning curve and a little more intelligence into racecraft. Gentlemen, is that a bad thing?
No, not at all.
Not necessarily, but the thing is, you used to be able to run fixed series Indy cars as somebody that didn't really know what was going on, and going into the official fixed series, you knew that if you did okay, everybody had the exact same thing that you did in their car.
Well, if that's your view and you're dead set against making adjustments, go back to Dallara Dash and Carb Cup.
No, I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying, because I know how to adjust a car. But my point is, for somebody that doesn't have any clue, somebody's got to be willing to sit down with brand new people to the iRacing Sim that are looking to get into a series where you can make in-car adjustments, and guide them. And I haven't seen anybody step up yet. As the battle for third place starts to heat up between Walker and Gonzalez Nunez.
John Poole is checked out while Brinson's starting to reel these guys back in as well. This top between second and fifth. This is a pretty intense battle. Obviously, John Poole's starting to get away now. Chris Walker looks like he was struggling for a second there. Has managed to get away from Nunez. Nunez now under pressure from Brinson. A lot of back and forth between these guys, but the most important part here, Frank, they are keeping it dead clean right now.
They are definitely, and Poole, to your point of Poole getting away, he just ran a lap 3/10 quicker than Walker on that last lap. And now, granted, Walker was in a little bit of a to-do with Nunez, but these guys have kept it very, very clean in such close quarters racing.
Still plenty of racing left to go. We are 50 laps before the end of this race, and they still have at least one more pit stop left in their arsenal, so it's going to come down to it. Nate Siefka is many seconds up the road, so barring a caution, it's pretty much Siefka's race to lose. Or barring a mistake from Nate Siefka, he's just 6.7 seconds up the road. That's a pretty hefty margin, especially on a track like this, Tony.
Scotty went to go make that move on Nunez, but he got down below him in the corner, but just looks like the goodie's gone off of those tires. He couldn't hold it down there, had to back off. And when he backed off, man, he backed off a long ways.
Well, you got to figure these guys are already into the 20 lap count on their tires. So, yeah, it's definitely going to get dicey. And I would like to say one more time that I have the most awesome fiance on the planet.
Uh-oh.
What you don't know?
More food.
He's brought me a turkey sandwich.
I knew it. More food.
Mayonnaise? Lots of mayonnaise.
I have an egg allergy, boys.
Okay, maybe not.
So no mayonnaise.
One of these days I'm going to put sriracha mayonnaise on your sandwich.
Hello, kitty.
Hello, kitty.
Get her, Wolf!
Get her off me! Anyway,
We need to record.
I'm glad you
these
guys
sounds,
find it
Sam,
funny. The cat just clawed me in the nuts.
because
Anyway, John Poole make a mistake out of turn one there. That's going to cost him a position there
Don't
too.
you laugh too.
Chris Walker, as they make their way into the tunnel turn. John Poole making a pretty critical mistake there, Frank.
Yes, he did.
sounded like Pat made a pretty critical mistake there too, leaving something hanging out for the cat to grab a hold of.
Not gonna say any more
You know
on
the
that.
low-hanging. There's low-hanging fruit there, Sam. Go ahead and pick it.
No thanks. Anyway, pit stops are looming here. John Poole looks like he might have scraped a bit of paint off the side of that car. Now Nunez is going to be right on the back of the number 8 as they make their way towards the tunnel turn here. Brinson starting to fall away as Nunez trying to take a bite out the left rear of Poole there through the tunnel turn. Didn't quite make it work though. Colin Scott in pit road as well, by the way. As this race is very much settled down. We've had our longest green flag run of the night here, Frank. It's looking like we might just finish this one under green, barring any incidents.
Yeah, no, the race last October, the last caution, again, about 120 lap race. That was a 300 miler. The last caution was at lap 32, so they finished on a long run there, almost a 100-lap run there, and we're looking well on our way to finishing out with another really long run.
Absolutely, as Nunez going for a pass on Chris Walker there, had to back out of it, and otherwise it would have ended in disaster. These guys have been switching positions. Looks like John Poole did not hurt his car as much as we thought, as he's now back in second place, but these guys, the more they battle, the more they are letting Nate Siefka get away. Siefka is very much a long way up the road, as I've already mentioned, and as I keep mentioning, this one is pretty much his to lose at this point.
Yeah, 7.1 second lead for Siefka, and it keeps growing. Just on this stint alone, that lead has grown 2.5 seconds. Helped a lot by these guys battling, but he is consistently putting up laps quicker by himself than these guys are in a pack of 3.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, too, Siefka does have a lot of experience running the Open IndyCar Series.
Yeah, he does.
So he knows how to work those adjustments all race long. You know, remember when you go into the pits, you've got to put the weight jacker back to here. You got to put the ARB back to here. And then adjust them again as the fuel starts to burn off the car.
I'm sorry, Sam. The one thing Nate does not want to see is a caution flag, and I'm watching second, third, and fourth, all battling for that second position. The way these guys are going, we might see that caution.
They're pretty spaced out now. They're not doing too badly. I mean, obviously, when it gets down to it, after that last pit stop, they will want to go balls to the wall and really challenge for those positions. But let's go back for the field right now. Obviously, Brinson has fallen away now. He's still pretty comfortably in that 5th spot. Let's go back to Paul Crumroy, though, in a bit of a battle there with Timothy Bates as they're putting a lap on Butch Davis here, Frank. These guys have been battling secretly behind the fight in front of them, and it's a pretty intense battle between Bates and Crumroy.
Yeah, they have, and I believe Crumroy has about 2 or 3 more laps on those tires than Bates does, and Davis having been being a lap down, being 3 laps down, as a matter of fact, getting out of the way of that fight. But this has been a nice little battle here. It's only 22 seconds off the lead, but still a nice little battle nonetheless.
Yeah, the newest tires actually on track right now belong to Tim Bates at 25. Everybody else, let me take that back. Butch Davis.
I believe he came in with the same lap as Siefka.
Colin Scott has the newest tires.
Colin Scott has the newest tires. But of the guys that are battling on the lead lap, he does have the newest tires. Tim Bates does at only 25.
Final pit stop's happening.
Here we go.
And Nunez in.
Chris Walker and Brinson are both in pit road there for what could be their final stops. They've still got 41 laps to go, though.
And here comes Crumroy.
Yeah, no, they're going to need another stop from here. And you're right, Crumroy in.
So Bates going to move up to 4th place. Johnny Antonucci. Oh, he's
Chris
done
Walker's
it.
in too.
Yeah, Antonucci's done it again here, Tony. Where the hell did he come from?
Well, he caught a race car to the face earlier, and since that, and yellow is
Caution!
Oh no! And who was that? We're gonna find out
Butch
in
Davis.
Oh no! So Butch Davis, big issues there, and that. Who wants to say it? Changes
That
everything.
Changes everything.
Yeah.
And Butch Davis, just if you go back and watch that one, he just got into some dirty air. I'm not exactly sure who that was directly in front of him.
Brazenton.
Now that caught some guys on pit road.
Yeah, that was caught Safeguard on pit road. The race leader, was caught on pit road when that happened. Question is, did he make it across the commitment line before that caution came out?
Well, let me go
I
look.
have to assume he did. Because I believe he did come in to make the stop, no?
Yeah, he did. So, Brinson and Walker as well, they're on fresh tyres as well, just made it out of pit road when the caution came out, so they are still on the lead lap. They are going to be well in the catbird seat, and you got to think now, with the pit stops they've just made, and obviously Paul, Gonzalez, Nunez and Bates still yet to pit, as well as Johnny Antonucci, you got to think they can probably make it from here, barring another caution?
No.
No?
Yeah, no, we're going to need another stop here, definitely.
And
Even if you came in and topped it off, you're still not going to make it.
And I'm not sure that because I'm watching for there it is right there is when the first yellow light flashes.
Right.
And then I'm looking for Siefker. Siefker's not past the commitment cone when that yellow light starts to come on.
Uh-oh. So we're thinking...
He did stay out. I believe that would be a trip to the end of the line, no?
Usually, yeah.
Pitting in a closed pit lane?
Well, we're about to find out here after a couple of circulations under caution, because right now, my scoring and timing has him as the top dog with Chris Walker and Scotty Brinson right behind him.
Yep, same here.
And with this caution coming out when it did, everybody else had just made their pit stop. So pretty much everybody on fresh tyres at this point as well. Obviously, people like, I don't know, Paul Crumright.
Three cars on two-lap old tires right now. Walker, Brinson, and Crumright.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's promoted Crumright up to P4, so that's a pretty good shot in the arm for Crumright. Sorry, Frank.
And it might be P3, depending upon what happens here with Siefker.
Well, you know what? You got the controls. I got the freedom. I'm going to go find out.
Well, you will.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. And as Ernie Ludwig quite rightly said on the YouTube chat, this is going to get crazy from this point onwards.
Yeah, pretty much, especially if Siefker's going to have to fight through the field. That's going to be what Siefker's going to be playing into, and some faking going on there.
Crumright and
Nunez did bite.
As did Crumright.
Yep. So that will tentatively put Siefker, Walker, Brinson, Poole, and then Bates the top 5.
Oh, I hope you're strapped in, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to get interesting from here. Well, I know we've still got quite a ways before the checker flag, but...
Nate Siefker snuck in and out without a penalty.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, that means iRacing changed that algorithm since the last time I drove.
Yeah. But lights are off on the pace car after the end of the third caution here tonight. And for some people it might have been a boring race, but I've been finding it pretty entertaining somewhat.
Yeah, no, definitely. The battle between second and fifth this entire race has been absolutely phenomenal.
That's Paul Crumright. Paul Crumright just coming out of pit road again. Butch Davis still in pit road, obviously. He's burned his fast repair. Brigelli still in pit road. Obviously, he's out of the race as well. So we are down to 11 drivers left on the track now. Out of the
That's
7.
wild.
Yeah.
But you know what we missed at the start of this race, Sam?
What, the race itself?
But besides that, the field works its way here into turn number 3 at the tricky triangle. Nate Seifker going to have the button. The only thing that's left to do is pull that tear off, tighten those belts up one more time as we're waiting for the field to make it through turn 3 and turn 4. As the pace car gets ready to make that hard left turn, it's time for Grandpa to pop a Viagra because we're about to get it on one more time in Long Pond, Pennsylvania.
As they hit the loud pedal, Nate Seifker holds on to the lead, but here comes John Poole to the outside of Chris Walker. Walker going to give it up. Brinson going to slot into P4. Nope, that's going to be Antonucci putting a move on there on the outside. Not going to make it work as Brinson and Nunez make it through. Remember, Nunez pitted under caution here, so he might have the advantage here. They've got to go 3 wide almost, and they are going to go 3 wide into turn 2. This could end badly, and they made it through. What a move!
Man, John Poole making a smart move, backing out of that throttle, seeing that he was the meat in the middle of that sandwich. 3 wide in turn 2, Pocono, open wheel, that's suicide.
And Antonucci was even higher. If you looked at the back there, the flash of black at the back, Antonucci was even higher than Poole was there, and they all made it through without any form of contact with each other or the wall.
Yeah, thank God for fresh tires on that one.
Yes, definitely.
And I think I can speak for everybody in this booth right now that is the most terrifying thing you can hear your spotters say in this simulator. 3 wide, you're the meat. Especially when you know you're going into turn 2 at Pocono.
Brinson making a move on John Poole through the tunnel turn, doesn't quite pay off for him as here comes Nunez again on the outside. Timothy Bates in this mix as well as Paul Cromwright, Johnny Antonucci. Dan Brazenton's still a lap down, but he's still going to mix it up with these guys anyway. John Poole still holding on to 3rd place, but Chris Walker sees his chance now and he's right on the tail of Nate Seifker.
Yeah, when that green flag came out, Nate Seifker hit the loud pedal, said, "See you boys, I'm out of here. Catch me if you can." Chris Walker said, "Hey, wait a minute, hold on, let me catch you here." But Nate Seifker, we've said it a million times, when catching is one thing, passing is another, and Nate Seifker can make a 5.5 foot wide car look like it's 20 feet wide on the track.
Yep. As Chris Walker going to try and reel in. Seifker going to dive it in there into turn 3. Big move there by the 23. Can he hold on? Going to drift on the track in front of Seifker and hold on. But Seifker going to cross him over. Seifker going to cross him over. They're going to be side by side down the long pond, straight down towards turn 1 now. It looks like Seifker might have the run here into turn 1, and Seifker back to the lead once again.
Man, Chris Walker just took those cojones, threw him up on the dash for everyone to see, and said, "Check this out."
And when you know who won the pony, again, it's Seifker and Walker, just the same way it has been the entirety of this race.
Well, the thing is, too, you take a look at the split time at the actual stripe. 9 1/1000ths of a second for Chris Walker at the stripe. So Walker now has that timing down. So if he can get within striking distance coming to the checkers, either bring me the trophy or bring me the steering wheel.
Yeah, and don't forget they still have to make their money stop as well, so,
Yeah, you can make routine pit stops all race long, but it's that money stop where the pressure's a little more intense, where mistakes get made and you can lose a race. We've seen Nate Seifker lose more than one race on the last pit stop.
I was about to say, how many times have we seen him get popped for speeding and then slide through his pit stall on the same stop?
Yep.
And we've seen a couple of guys slide through the stall today already.
Butch Davis did it earlier. All I'm going to say right now, I know he's a bit far back at the moment, but watch Scott Brinson. He is back there. He's keeping a gap between himself and John Poole. He is saving them tires.
Oh, absolutely. He's getting just enough pull down the straightaway to stay with these guys, but he's staying far enough back so that if an oops happens, shall we say, he's kind of got...
Go ahead and say it, because first you say it, then you do it.
Well, we're definitely going to see a first you say it, then you do it kind of moment. But what I'm saying is, if it just so happens that, first and second place currently break the only team rule that their racing team has, Scott Brinson is far enough back that he can take evasive action.
Well, if we've got to make sure he gets onto the Sports Center highlights?
Exactly. If do what you can, race as hard as you want, just don't kill each other. That's the only rule those guys have.
Sorry,
in these last 2 laps, well, Bates held the fastest. Nunez held the fastest lap, but of the 4 guys in the top 4, Brinson, these last 3 or 4 laps, has been the quickest of the lot.
Yep,
because he's getting that monster pull down the Long Pond straightaway, because he is within drafting distance of John Poole.
And he's saving his tires at the same time because he's not right in that dirty air. So
right. So Brinson knows how to play the long game here.
Yeah, and with 30 laps to go, they still have a pit stop in the bag. So Brinson might be able to go a lap or 2 longer. What? What are you hearing?
I'm going to look. Oh!
Have anything to do with Antonucci? He's fallen off the pace a little bit.
So there's a little bickering between Bates and Nunez.
A little bickering.
I'm trying to keep it clean. They're fighting like an old married couple.
With Nunez right now.
Yeah, they're fighting like an old married couple. Apparently, Tim thinks that Nunez crowded him going into 1, and he's dropping spots right now because there might be some damage on the number 5.
Yeah, that last lap, just to compare, Nunez ran a 43.0, Bates ran a 44.6, so yeah, there might be a little bit of an issue there.
Colin Scott struggling back there on his own. He,
oh, there it is.
At the moment there is...
Yeah, he definitely has some damage on that left rear kick out just before the rear tire.
Okay.
So a little bit of aero damage on Tim Bates, number 5. Not happy at all with Luis Gonzalez Nunez in the 35.
And Nunez has been in the center of the entertainment. Remember, he had the issue with Butch Davis earlier on in the race. It was just neck code, but still, Nunez has been the center of attention here today.
Battle for the lead going on now between Chris Walker and Nate Siefka, as Chris Walker tried to make the move through turn 3 once again. That he's been doing so much here tonight. Not able to pull it off this time, as Siefka able to hold on, but the top 5 starting to bunch up again. It looks like Scott Brinson has finally saved enough tyres and now fancies a stab at John Poole.
And the top 5 covered by 1.3 seconds back to Nunez. And again, it's been the same 1 and 2 pretty much the entirety of the race. Poole has come up. I think he started somewhere 14th, I believe. Is where he started, so he's worked his way up. Brinson also started in the mid-pack. He's worked his way up. And Nunez has kind of been hanging around that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th area the entire race. So this is a group of guys who have been up here the entirety of this run.
As it stands right now, Timothy Bates is your biggest mover. Moved up 10 spots from P17. So, and he's running in P7. That's obviously 10 spots. So if this race was to end now, Timothy Bates would get the biggest mover award, but still quite a lot of racing to go. We've still got 26 laps to go as they come out of turn 3, and it couldn't be any closer between this top 3 right now, Frank.
Yeah, Walker just taking a peek on Siefka going into 3 as him and Poole get really close going into 1. These guys have been nose to tail the entirety of this race, and it's been nothing short of entertaining.
Yeah.
Walker all over the rear wing of Nate Siefker right now. it just... If somebody sneezes, there's going to be a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and Brinson's going to be there to pick up the pieces because he's fallen back again just enough so he can avoid the wreck if there is one. Only problem is he's got Nunez right on his tail now.
Scott 1 lap down, about to be 2 now as the leaders come by, just coming out of the pits. He's he will be good to go for the rest of this race, even though he is 2 laps down.
Yeah, question is, when will the leaders bring it down? Obviously, they do need to bring it down again, so it's going to be a tough ask. Who's going to blink first there, Tony, do you reckon?
Me. Siefker, with the way he's running, he's not been able to save any fuel. I'm thinking he's in the worst position right now, whereas John Poole, our champion-elect, you got to love where he is because he's able to save a ton of fuel with 2 cars in front of him.
Yeah, but
sorry,
knowing they could make one more stop and seeing if they were able to run 23, 24 laps on a tank of Go Fast, all they got to do, they last pitted on lap 120, so all they got to do is run 20 laps and pit if they want to split it down the middle. So I think Siefker is more than good to go on fuel.
Yeah, it's not a question of fuel around here, though. It's a question of tyres, because that right front takes an absolute battering through those tighter left-handers. Obviously, the tunnel turn won't be so bad, but turns 1 and 3, they do really have a massive effect on the tyres. As Chris Walker going to take a little look there on Siefker through turn 1.
Damn, Siefker runs that so low through turn 1. That line looks so pretty.
Going back to the pit stops, though, one thing is for certain. Whichever one of these top 5 blinks first, you can expect the rest of them either in the next lap or the lap after that.
Well, the way the tire fall off is here, you have to, as soon as one person goes, you've got to go the very next time you can get to pit road.
Yeah.
You can't try to hustle it and stay out like you sometimes can in a tin top car.
By the way, somebody is coming into the pits back there.
Timothy Bates is going to come in to serve his final pit stop of the night and probably fix that damage on that the left rear of his car. So the first one of the front runners to blink there is Timothy Bates as he brings it down to his pit stall. Let's take a look at the leaders, though, and see what they're going to do, because they are nose to tail right now as they come out of turn 2.
Goodness, Walker is right up on him. Couldn't be surprised. He's been there this entire race, but still amazing how close they've been this entire run.
And Walker just... I cringe every time Walker comes through turn 1 because he's flirting with disaster with that safer barrier out there.
20 laps to go here at Pocono. It is anybody's game at this point, but Nate Siefker led the most laps here in the Long Pond area of Pocono. And I don't know. It's very tough to call here. Obviously, Siefker won the pit stop game during that last green flag run, but looks like Chris Walker has the slight edge on him on this run right now, don't you think there, Frank?
It is looking like it, and again, like I've been saying, it's been Siefker and Walker. There you go. There's the first one to blink is Poole. Poole comes in. You got to expect the rest of these guys in next time.
Yeah. As Brinson still far back enough, he's managed to save some tyres and some fuel there, so he might. I'm expecting Brinson and Nunez to stay out another lap to try and maybe put some gap on them, but obviously with no drafting help, they're not really going to help themselves either.
Yeah, no, not really. You would like the drafting help, but it's a double edge. Because, yes, while the drafting help is nice, as Siefker and Walker both do not come in, Brinson and Nunez do.
I got it the other way around, I'm sorry.
No, Brinson and Nunez do, but it's coming in like that. You got to be very very trusting in the guy behind you not to run you over.
Yeah, Brinson, slightly overshoots his pit box, but he gets it in no problem. Didn't really lose any time from that, but he might come out behind Nunez after that, as Nunez does get going, and Nunez going to be out by some margin ahead of Brinson here. That's not going to make him happy at all.
Nunez short-fueled it because he only had an 8-second pit stop to Brinson's 9.4. So Brinson took on 4 tires on a full load of fuel.
And guys, the leaders out again, Seifker and Walker, not biting coming in.
This might hurt them.
Definitely, this has a major chance of hurting them.
I have to see what the lap time difference is between John Poole, who came in and pitted, Scotty Brinson, who came in and pitted, versus Nate Seifker and Chris Walker with their last lap. Their last lap was a 43.5 and a 43.6, respectively.
Well, we're about to see what Poole's first flyer is, as he's just crossing the line now.
42.9.
He's already made up that gap back to them, as it looks like Seifker's coming in. Yes, he is. Walker couldn't. Walker came out too high and knew he was not going to make the commitment code. He had to go around again, so that could have just knocked Walker out of P2.
And he's got to be careful here, because that might put him bingo on fuel if he's low on fuel. Can't really say that he is, but you never know.
I'm going to guess no, because he's not near the lap count for bingo on the tank.
7.9 second stop for Seifker. He's short fuel, puts just enough fuel in it to get the job done.
And here comes Poole, though. Poole's going to get him coming out of 1 here. Sails right past, and that right there, that's the difference, staying out those 2 to 3 extra laps that they stayed out and coming in right around the same time. That's the difference right there. That puts Poole into the effective race lead as Walker's in pit lane.
That's going to hand the lead over to Johnny Antonucci, who's going to get his first lap led of this race, as we've seen smoke on the track there. I'm not really sure who that's from, but Kevin O'Brien having a few issues there, as Chris Walker just coming out of his pit stall. Here comes John Poole, though. You got to think Poole's going to take this away easily, and he does.
This is the first time that Seifker is going to be spending an extended amount of time behind somebody. Well, just as I say that, here he comes. Going into the tunnel turn, getting around Poole, and he'll make the move stick. Again, Poole is already the champion, not really fighting for much of anything other than pride here for the final race. Stick it right back to the inside of him, going through 3. Seifker, oh my goodness, Seifker got close to that wall.
If there was a bug on that wall, that bug's missing the hair on its back right now.
I'd like to point out that Paul Crumry and Tim Bates just had a meeting of the minds.
Oh, wow. Let's go back and take a look at that while we're coming down to it. So, so out of turn 1, Bates into the wall and just slams into the side of Paul Crumry. And you talk about Scott Brinson having a difficult season. That is a man that's had probably the worst season of all.
Very true.
And with 13 laps to go, and Johnny Antonucci has a pretty sizable lead. Is he going to try and run this tank dry before he brings it in, or is he...
I doubt he's got another 10 laps, 10 to 12 laps in that tank.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter with where that caution was placed. There was no way you were making it on fuel. As Walker moves up to effective P3, and he's fighting Poole now for effective P2. It's P3 on track. But after Antonucci pits, this is going to be the battle for the lead again.
Antonucci stays out again, though, for another lap, and we're 12 laps to go at Pocono. Nate Seifker is starting to reel in Antonucci. Obviously, Antonucci on those older tyres, and look how close to the wall they were coming out of turn 3. Wow.
And I would like to point out that we only have 9 cars still running.
Yeah.
Antonucci calling out his pit, so he's going to be bringing her pit side this time around.
To say, you watch the last 2 laps between the two. Antonucci ran a 44.15. Seifker ran a 42.9.
Yeah,
just to show how quick they're catching him.
And Antonucci stayed out another lap, so I'm guessing he decided not to. Wow.
Is he got a DuPont chemical company sponsoring that car and put a little something extra in the go fast to make it stretch?
Yeah, a 44 flat to another 42.9.
Now, those 2 laps alone, Sifka has taken 3 seconds out of Antonucci, so yeah. Sifka pulling away from John Poole now. Poole looks like he might be holding up Chris Walker a little bit now, as Gonzalez has fallen away as well. Brinson has really fallen away. Not sure what's happened to Brinson in this late stage of the race, but he just does not seem to have the pace. And here comes Antonucci now.
Antonucci's in. So as I said, this is going to be the battle for the lead here. Once again, it's Sifka, Poole, Walker, as Nunez is falling off of this battle, as well as you mentioned before, Sam Brinson falling off of this battle as well. It's going to get fun for the lead here as you see Sifka trying to break that draft down the straightaway to try to keep Poole back there as long as he can, as Timothy Bates in the pit as well.
Yeah, Bates is back in pit road after that incident with Paul Crumroy. Crumroy is back out on track, and as things stand right now with 10 laps to go, Crumroy, despite that crash with Timothy Bates, is got to claim the last spot in the top 10 here, as we're seeing some Indy Snake action between the top 3 here, as we have 9 laps to go at Pocono. I'm still
John Poole getting the job done on Chris Walker.
Yeah, well, Chris Walker was still already behind John Poole.
I thought it was the other way around.
You've had a long day.
Yeah, I have. I have actually had a very long day.
And it's turning into the expected 3-horse race as Nunez has fallen well off of this race. It is the fight that we expected, Sifka versus Poole versus Walker.
You know, it looks like he can get right up under the rear wing of Sifka, but then they just hit that corner and they have no grip in that corner and they fall way off.
Dirty air playing a major role in that. Walker trying to take a little bit of a higher line on entry there. Then Poole still coming out. Walker losing just a little bit.
Yep, as they make their way into turn 2, it's still anybody's game from this top 3 though. And John Poole starting to reel in Sifka again. Is he going to try the move? He is going to try the move into turn 3, and he's going to pass him. Well, try to pass him. Is Sifka going to be on that black strip we've been talking about so many times here tonight? And Sifka just sails around the outside and takes that lead back again.
Antonucci back in the lane, by the way, leaving just the 5 cars that we've been going on about the entirety of this race. Sifka, Walker, Poole, Nunez, and Brinson, the only 5 on the lead lap. And a big near coming together there between Poole and Walker.
Yeah, Poole got down in turn 1, got on the rumble strip there, upset his car and drifted it right up to the side of Walker. How he kept it off of him, I have no clue.
As we're getting down to the final stages of this one, less than a handful of laps left, boys.
Less than a handful of cars on the track as well. There's a Tritcham really taking shape in this closing stage of the race, as now Chris Walker up to second after Frank nearly had a heart attack through the tunnel turn.
And you just saw, by the way, that was Brassington is spreading these guys out a little bit as it's Poole and Walker again. Poole now ducks in behind Walker, going down Long Pond. Walker choosing to take the straight line and not trying to lose the draft from, not trying to get Poole to lose his draft, trying to stay behind Sifka, who's pulled out to a 4/10 lead.
Yeah, Sifka right about now is going, please no caution, please no caution, please no caution.
Well, if there's a caution within the next 2 laps, the race will be over. So they don't want to see a caution at this point, especially Chris Walker is now pulling away from John Poole and really closing in on Nate Sifka. Now, if I was Nate Sifka, I would think, oh, I've had a long season, I'm locked into second place in the points now. I think I'm going to give my teammate a win.
No, come on. You got to go for the win. You go for the glory.
Well,
This
the thing
is
is,
Steve
Steve
Kerr we're talking
is
about.
battling right now with John Poole for most number of wins on the season.
Yeah, true.
And we all know what type of little prick.
To get him.
Well, we all know what type of little prick Seifker can be. You know, when you dangle a carrot in front of his face, he's going to bite your arm off.
Hang on. Little.
Let's not go there. Anyway,
He's
4
younger
laps to
than
go.
I am.
4 laps to go. And we're coming to the conclusion of this one, and
I wouldn't call him a little one. I'd call him a magnanimous one at this point.
enough. As we are 4 laps to go in this race. Making the way into turn 2. Chris Walker now going to be on the back of Nate Seifker, and it's a situation normal between these two now, Frank.
Yeah, pretty much. These guys have been together the entire race, and we've seen this song and dance before. Walker takes the dive into 3. He's going to slide up in front of him, but here comes Seifker. Back on the inside, and once again, just does beat Seifker to the line.
Yeah, and if Chris Walker could pull that move off again, that might work in his wheelhouse as when we get to the white flag.
And this is the second time he has successfully tried that, made the move stick, and then pulled off the near tip at the line.
Yeah, 11 1,000ths of a second that time at the stripe. Give the nod to Chris Walker. You got to wonder if he just showed his hand to Seifker a little too early, though, as we are closing in. Should be popsicle sticks out this time by.
Seifker, you saw him take the inside line there, so he sees that move. He's trying to block it now.
Yeah, as they make their way towards turn 1, popsicle sticks are in the air. And we're going to see who's going to come out on top in this one. Chris Walker seems like the one who wants it the most. Obviously, Chris Walker, as I've mentioned many of a time in this race so far tonight, would love to get his first race win since 2018. But Nate Seifker has just been absolutely putting on a clinic here tonight.
Here it comes. Not going to be able to pull it off through turn 3.
Yeah, no, Seifker has changed his line, trying to defend that inside line dive by Walker. To your point, Tony, he may have shown his hand a little too early.
Absolutely, and as the dirty air definitely affected Walker on that lap. No doubt about it. You saw him just wash up and lose a ton of momentum coming off the 3, and now he's definitely on the back foot as Seifker takes the white flag. We are last time around, 1.5 miles to go as they bring it through the tunnel turn. Seifker showing the way. Walker sitting in a comfortable second, gonna get the podium. Seifker gonna win the battle. John Poole in third, gonna win the war though. As Seifker takes it across the line, take the checkered flag. Nate Seifker, your winner here for the season finale. Chris Walker coming home in second, and your champion-elect, John Poole, rounding out your podium.
They can't call him a champion-elect anymore. He is the champion because the season
he is now officially your champion.
Yeah. But Nate Seifker, the winner of this one, put an absolute clinic on tonight. Very well done to him. Luis Gonzalez going to come across the line in P4. Scott Brinson going to get P5 there, just faded at the end there after that last pit stop. As I don't know what happened to Brinson, though. He just didn't have the pace at the end there. Kevin O'Brien going across the line for P6. Colin Scott in P7. Dan Brazington going to be in P8. P9 going to go to Johnny Antonucci. And despite a big wreck during that green flag run, Paul Cromwell is still going to cross the line for top 10 here. So not too shabby at all as they all come down the straight right now. And we're going to see some burnouts, I'm expecting. As we're looking at the race winner there, Mr. Scott Brinson. Not Scott Brinson, Nate Seifker. Oh, Brinson will be happy to hear me say that. Nate Seifker going to come down through turn 3, and they're all just taking it easy on their way back to pit road now.
And just looking over Brinson's car, he must have just really backed it off because I see no evidence of damage on Brinson's car whatsoever.
And it looks like John Poole and Nate Seifker are going to do synchronized burnouts. Schaefer celebrating the race win. John Poole celebrating the seasonal win.
We're going to try. There we go. We got a proper camera view of them both doing burnouts on the long pond straight there, just after the start-finish line. Nate Siefke, your winner. John Poole, your champion here at Pocono. And we'll get interviews away in just a second. But guys,
Hey, before you do that, Sam, I just want to say welcome, Frank, to ESPN. It's great to have you. Guys, I got to bail just because, I got a missus that needs to get some sleep, and I've had a long day. It's been fun being here with the final race here at Top Fuel of the season. Hoping for more. You guys will have to fill me in.
all right, Byron. Well, good to have you up here, and hopefully we'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be here Saturday. I cannot wait. NASCOM online Saturday night. Normally, I'm the voice of NASCOM, but I'm going to be the voice of the in-race reporter behind the wheel as we go to Sonoma.
Right then, let's get the interviews out of the way as we're going to go from third to first, as we always do. We're going to bring up the man of the moment as well. We're going to bring up the man that's won the war here tonight. That's Mr. John Poole, if our grabbers can find him. Anybody?
Oh, yeah, hold on.
I'll get it. I've got him. As we bring up John Poole, and Tony, you're with John Poole right now.
John Poole, congratulations on the podium tonight. Congratulations on the season championship being yours. Just a dream season for you from what I've been able to gather so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And not trying to, toot my own horn, but I think I could have done a little bit better. I think I could have got 20 straight top 10s this season. That was with the runs we were having, but of course, Indianapolis and Charlotte didn't go our way, but you know what? You can't have every race go your way. But yeah, overall, this season was excellent. Could not ask for a better season. The season has been long, exhausting, and I am completely beat after this one, I tell you.
Well, I think a lot of us are a little wiped out after this hard-fought season. Any major plans during the short time off that we're going to take while everybody tries to regroup a little bit?
Goal-wise, probably just there's a couple other series that I've had some history with in the past. I'll maybe run a couple races there just to keep myself fresh and sharp for the upcoming season. So we'll just wait and see type of thing.
Well, hell, you ought to come run 10 tops with us on Monday nights in the Pasky series.
Love to, but the work schedule just does not allow anything other than, say, Wednesdays or even the occasional weekend. That's about it.
All right. Well, anyways, John, thanks so much for putting on a real entertaining season, entertaining race. Is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Got to thank Scott for putting this thing on week in, week out. I know it was, I've said this plenty of times before, a tough season and a half for him, personally and league-wise. So just glad that he's going to get some time off. I got to thank you guys at ESPN. Sam, thank you for broadcasting tonight. Heard we had some technical difficulties. I know you were looking forward to racing, but that's unfortunate. So thank you for, kind of stopping and getting the broadcast going. And got to thank Cosman from Splash and Go for my paints as always. He does a great job, and without him, I would be driving a generic car, honestly.
Actually, that reminds me, I do need to give you a rash of crap about that. I happen to know for a fact somebody sent you a brand new paint scheme to celebrate your championship with.
Yes, you did. And you can give me a bunch of crap for that. Let's just say they're training me on something new at work this week, and I've viewed the messages, but honestly, I've forgotten everything that's been sent to me. So apologies for that in advance.
Well, shit happens. But congratulations on the championship. Congratulations on the season. And I believe Scotty Brinson joining us in the booth now. Scotty, you got any words for John before we let him go?
He's probably stepped away for a second. Yeah, John, congratulations on the series championship. You very well deserved it. I mean, put on a dominant performance all season, and we hope you bring your A game next season because it's going to be very competitive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Hey, John, free you go, man. I'm here. I was just stepped away. I could hear it though on the mic, so I came back real quick. I just want to congratulate you on your championship, man. You've had a hell of a season. Driving your ass off every week. You're one of the class of the field, dude. So, like I said last week, if there's someone that deserves the championship this season, it's definitely you, my friend. So, congratulations, and drink a cold one for me.
Absolutely, Scott. Thank you again for putting this on. I know it's been a rough stretch for you, so why don't you take a damn vacation, okay? Relax.
Oh, I wish I could, man. I wish there was some shit open where we could go do some stuff. I wish Busch Gardens wouldn't make people wear masks, so go ride some roller coasters, but I ain't doing that. So
I understand.
But I hear you, man. I just want to get away for a couple weeks, and after tonight's race and with struggling with the adjustments, I'm gonna have to make a wholeheartedly decision as far as that goes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But anyway, congratulations on your championship, man, and just enjoy the time off, or whatever you are going to do in your sim racing future.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to try to keep myself sharp a little bit. Maybe take a couple weeks off, such like that. Went back to school for the first time in 6 months. That's fun. Trying to do that, work in this. So I think we'll take some much needed time off.
Good deal, man. Well, I got a question for you. If we do have a season number 11, we expect to see you back out there for it?
I'll say I'll keep my options open. Just not really sure with the work schedule, and I don't know where I'm going to see myself, in 2 or 3 months. Things could change where I couldn't do it or could do it. But I'll say that if everything stays the same, yes, you will see me.
Right on. Well, it'll be about 7 weeks. It would be July 29th would be the restart date. I didn't even mess with that. That's when it was originally supposed to start. But we got a nice little break here. And we were going to run the summer lights, but we're not going to run the summer lights this summer. We've been running them the last 4 years or whatever, and we ran the winter lights. So we'll take a light season off.
There you go.
Anyway, that was John. Congratulations one more time, and hopefully we will see you back next season.
All right, guys. Thank you.
That was John Poole joining us in the booth. Great way to round off a championship here with a podium. But we're going to bring in Chris Walker. Chris, you had the win there in the grasp of your hands. You tried your hardest to get around Nate, but Nate just had a car about 70 feet wide there at the end.
Yeah, it was a tremendous race. And Nate and I were going back and forth pretty much the entire time, except for the let out a little bit. But man, you try to send it around the inside, but after about the first 3 laps, you really didn't grip in order to make it work out real well. And there was just my timing, trying to set him up coming out of the last corner. I mean, I planned that pass for about 3 laps and where I needed to be coming out of turn 3 with 2 laps before it and how far I needed him in front of me because I knew I was going to get a tremendous tow. And I'm getting out of turn 2 a lot quicker than I thought. And
your mic keeps cutting out there, Chris. Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, Nate had just a tremendous car tonight, and just an awesome drive by Nate again. Good job for the rest of the guys in TF No Limit Racing too, and what a tremendous season for everybody.
Yeah, I mean this season has pretty much rounded off in a good way. I mean, only 3 cautions on the night on a very difficult track here, Chris. Looked like you enjoyed yourself out there, and you looked very much on form. How was the car feeling for you out on the track, and what did you need to do to try and get around people around here?
Yeah, the car was working out really good, and we talked about different driver adjustments that we could have made inside the car and where people liked it and where people felt it was not the greatest. So what we ended up with is everybody ended up with a different bar setup, different weight jack setup, and in order to kind of suit their driving style. And I think it made for a much better race because, if we were all forced into driving one particular driving style, it may not be conducive for Nate, or it might not have been conducive for me. And we're able to make those adjustments in the car, which I think helped the quality of the race a lot better. And I hope it showed up in the broadcast too.
Oh, it certainly did, and you definitely put on a great show here tonight, Chris. Anyone you want to give a shout out to, say thanks to for the season, for the race, or whatever you want?
First and foremost, man, I got to thank Scott Brinson. I mean, been on for the past 6 years, and it's just been an awesome series to be a part of. I've made great friends through the whole deal, and Scott, man, thank you. Hadn't been for him, great guys like you and Tony and everybody else has been broadcasting with it. All my Nolan racing guys. I mean, they really help make this race season for me a lot more enjoyable since we've started building it up. So I mean, everybody at No Limit Racing, Jeff and Butch and John Poole, congratulations on your awesome. Butch and Kieran, just totally invaluable players, and Dan. Dan's come a long way too, and just learning the car and learning to drive better, and catch the season best the race before with a 5th. I mean, that's fantastic. Everybody again at No Limit Racing, all the admins, help put this on and providing us a great avenue to have fun every Wednesday night.
All right, Chris. Well, congratulations on the second place here tonight. Sorry, I was trying to mention to you there that your mic was cutting out a lot there, and unfortunately, we missed a lot of the stuff you were saying there.
Yeah, I was trying to get into my tools and trying to keep the mic open, and it just didn't work out. And everybody's doing so good.
Yeah, but anyway, Chris, congratulations on the second place here tonight. Very well deserved. That win is coming. It will come soon. And hopefully we'll see you on the top step of that podium soon.
I hope to be there soon. It's coming. I'm knocking on the door and becoming the bridesmaid to Nate. And, congratulations to Nate on the win. Him and I have been having a battle back and forth the past 3-4 races, and it's been nothing but fun.
All right, Chris. Well, congratulations one more time, and we'll see you hopefully next season.
I hope so too.
So that was our second place finisher, Chris Walker. Let's bring up the race winner now, as I believe Frank is with him right now.
Yes, I do. Nate, congratulations on the win. What was it like to be battling with Chris literally the entire race right on your gearbox?
Yeah, it was difficult, I will say. Just having Chris there the entire race. I tell you what, whenever I lead a race from basically at the end and think I got it wrapped up, Chris has been there the entire season in second place. I'm kind of getting tired of it, but no, it was really fun to race there with Chris and John, especially towards the end. Yeah, I think I kind of wanted that race to go green there, not have that yellow, because I had that 7-second gap. But I was a little worried about it. I'm glad I kind of stuck through with it and got a good result out of it tonight, at least.
Speaking of that yellow flag, were you concerned at all that you'd maybe cut it a little too close by not getting a black flag there, just getting into the pits just in time? Do you think you had it? Did you think you might have been a little late? What was your thought there as when that caution came out?
Well, I knew that it was probably pretty close. I had no idea it was that close as you guys were saying there. I was thinking, I was in there for a good second or two, not that short. So, yeah, kind of surprised with that. I'll take it though. I didn't want to be caught out, and I'm glad I wasn't caught out. I mean, I'm just looking back at it now. It looks like I had about 2 seconds worth of space there, but yeah, it just kind of got lucky with that. I had to add a little bit more fuel than John and Chris did. Actually, no, I had to just add more than John and Scott and Luis at the end, which I thought might hurt me. And when John got past me there, I was a little concerned. Thankfully, I was able to. He kind of messed up T1 there, but I got him back into T2. So, Yeah, I think that tonight was a good run for me. Leading by far the most laps, I would have to say. I have no idea how many I actually led, but just being smooth and consistent all night, and it was a little difficult. But I'm glad I was able to stick it out and get the result that I did.
On that move with 3 laps to go, do you think Chris maybe showed his hand a little too early and gave you the opportunity to block him the next 2 laps to kind of seal the victory for you?
I would say that I figured it out pretty quickly what his lanes were. I all night long I knew that it was going to be difficult to run that bottom lane, so I kind of just stayed right where I was, and I kept it going. And thankfully, he couldn't quite get to me there, so I'm really glad about that. But I kind of did think he might get to me, but I'm really glad that I was able to just keep it ripping on the top there in 3, because that's the one spot that I think anyone could pass tonight was turn 3, at least that I've noticed. So really just kind of keep ripping her around the top, and if I just kept doing that, I think I was going to be fine. Thankfully, that was the case, and just pulled away with the win tonight at least.
Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Of course, got to thank my beautiful girlfriend for being by my side. I think she's appreciative of the little break that we're going to get here. A little more Wednesday nights with her.
Thank her for putting up with your crap for so long.
Yes, absolutely. She puts up with a ton. So thank you to her for being there by my side and being my number 1 supporter. Got to thank the entire team at No Limit Racing. They've done an excellent job with this build of learning it, adapting to it, and executing it to a T. They've done, everyone on that team deserves to have their name on the trophy, or if there was a trophy tonight, because they did a lot of work, both at Milwaukee to let me win and here. So congrats to all of those guys. I can't even say all of them because they're all there. Gotta thank you, Frank. Congratulations for broadcasting.
Thank you very much.
I heard there were some gremlins at the beginning, but I'm glad it got resolved. So congrats and thank you to you for at least broadcasting. Thank you to Sam. I know it was probably a little difficult to pull off the racetrack. I think that's what he did. I'm not 100% sure.
Yes, but I didn't even start the race.
Yeah, so thank you to Sam for giving us a broadcast to watch tomorrow. Thank you, Tony, for coming back. Of course, I think he, getting, just thank you just for coming back, and it's kind of nice to have a bit more humor in the booth when watching the races back. So thank you to Tony.
You're saying I'm not funny?
It's a different humor, Sam. You got to admit to that. So, and then thank you to Scott for putting the league on. I know it's not a secret, and I'll just say it. Me and Scott have butted our heads this season more than once. So he could have laid down and said, "Screw it, we're done," and he didn't, and that I respect the hell out of. So thank you to Scott for putting up with not only I'm going to cuss here, but bullshit, and everybody else's.
Thank you for saying that.
Because, I know it's a lot to deal with. I've helped in leagues, multiple leagues. I've helped in Paskies. I've helped in other leagues that have disbanded. I've helped, and, it's a great group of guys. I consider most of these people, I respect most of them just like family. And it's, I want to come back. If there's a next season, I think it's going to be a little difficult with the break that we're going on, but I think it's needed for the league's sanity and for Scott's. And I think, we got a great group of guys here. So regardless of what happens, whatever the future is, I've greatly looked forward to it. And if, we got to move to greener pastures or whatever, I hope that I find most of the guys that we raced with here and those other pastures.
Very well said. Your winner tonight here at Pocono, Nate. Congratulations, not just on the win tonight, but the win last week as well.
All right. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tony.
Have a good night.
Steve, before you go, Steve, I just want to say congratulations on one of the last 2 Top Fuel Racing events. Regardless of what might happen in the future, I don't know what's going to happen. So, but as it stands right now, these were the last 2. And I've been waiting for you to say something for the last couple of weeks, so I appreciate that you finally said something, man. So,
Yeah, no problem. I was kind of just we're gonna wait till the season was over, get through the season, and then I was gonna say something to you. So regardless of if I finished here on the podium or if I finished in 20th tonight, I was gonna say something. I was just gonna wait till the season was over and say something to you then, Scott.
You're good, man. Like I said that day, I understand, man. You're young, and sometimes shit happens, and I've been pretty burnt out on this stuff, so I just tried to be the bigger person that day and, not make it any worse than what it was. So maybe I wasn't in a sense, but at the same time, I didn't kick you out or any of that shit. So
Thank you. I appreciate that.
well, you've been here a long time, Steve. You're one of the ones that have helped build this league. And, I appreciate you guys being here every week and getting this thing to the level that it's at, man. There's a lot of stiff competition in here, as I found out tonight. Some of you guys that were a little better on them adjustments tonight, you guys handed me my ass. So
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
well, good win there, Steveker. Go enjoy it, man.
I appreciate it.
All right, Nate. Well, congratulations on a good season, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
That was Nate Steveker joining us in the booth. Scott, you're in the booth with us.
Hey, give me just 1 second. I got to step away for just 1 second. Just talk for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, guys, it's been a fun season. Obviously, the pair of you have not been here for the most part, but from what you've seen of it, it's been pretty fun so far. Been pretty fun this season.
It's been interesting. I've only been here for the past 4 races, and I'll be straight with you. I'm going to reiterate what Scott and Nate both just said. I can completely understand why a break is needed. Holy cow! I'm still thinking back to helps if I pull this down, doesn't it? I'm still thinking back to when we took the white flag Indy and proceeded to jam that flag up about half the field's backside. Milwaukee was not the dumpster fire I thought it was going to be, although it was still a less than stellar.
It was definitely a trash can fire.
No. See, well, the thing is, yeah, it was a trash can fire, but I was expecting it to be the bastard child of a train wreck and a dumpster fire.
So we've had a couple of those there.
But the fact that it was only a trash can fire, I can deal with.
Yeah.
Indy was a dumpster fire, but like I've said numerous times, and Sam, you've heard me say this, and Scott, you've heard me say this too. You dangle money in front of somebody, and they'll punch the grandmother in the face for that money.
Yeah, especially in sim racing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because everybody becomes a keyboard cowboy.
Hang on again. Somebody's knocking on my door this time. Hang on a second.
Yeah, and
anyways,
tonight has been a very good race in my opinion. Definitely,
tonight was very entertaining.
Yeah. Frank, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it was a very entertaining race tonight. I enjoyed it. Just the respect of how close those guys were running the entire race, and just wound up and never wound up in a big calamity as you guys have been describing at past races. But there are times I've been a part of many leagues, maybe not on iRacing, but still leagues, doesn't matter where they are, it's a lot of the same qualities. And there are times where, yes, you do need to just step away and just have a little bit of a break, come back fresh and new, and just with kind of like a revitalized passion for it. And this break will most likely be good for the guys. Probably let some of those hard feelings sort of fall off to the wayside and come back a fresh clean slate.
I agree with that.
The thing
I
is,
definitely agree with that.
Absolutely, and it kind of rejuvenated me. And Sam and Scott both know this, that up until the Indy race, when Scott called me and said, "Hey, we need you back. We need you back. We need you back," I hadn't broadcasted anything for over a year. Yeah. I hadn't even been on the simulator for over a year. So there's some new faces in the series. There's some old faces that have come back that they're good. That's good to see them back. But it kind of does rejuvenate you to be able to take at least a little bit of time off. I don't recommend taking a year off like I did, but a couple, 2-3 weeks, perfectly fine. Just to rejuvenate, kind of be able to decompress, basically. And, I know Scotty needs it. I know a lot of the other drivers are definitely going to need it. I just had to delete a couple of comments from one of the drivers on our YouTube stream, but I think the break's not going to be a bad thing, but it'll give guys time to kind of learn what those new in-car adjustments can really do.
Yeah.
And you have some people out there talking some smack, did you, Tony?
Yeah, one of your teammates.
Oh.
Not me. Anyway.
Stirring up the pot.
Anyway, Scott, moving quickly along. Season 10 has come to an end. I know you got a lot of things to say, so I'll leave the floor to you.
Well, sorry about the distractions there. First time I was dealing with my food on the grill, and then the second time the neighbor was knocking on the door. So, sorry about that.
Right.
I do have a lot to say. I have no idea where to start. So let me just start with thanking all you guys up here in the booth. Sammy and Tony, you guys have covered a lot of top fuel races. Frank, tonight was your first night here. But without you guys up here in the booth calling these races over the last, 2 years, 2+ years? I think it's about 2 years and 3 or 4 months now at this point. But, top fuel racing wouldn't be as popular as it is if it wouldn't have been for ESPN. Because I think the league became even more popular than what we were on Max Speed TV, and we were pretty popular over there. But I think the talent level, the competition level, and everything else has definitely been at its peak since we've been on ESPN. So I appreciate ESPN and everybody bringing this league to the iRacing masses and everyone else that watches it. Also, I want to take a minute here to thank all the sponsors. Of course, Discount Nutrition, my buddy Naz. He's been on board ever since, we weren't even having races. He's one of the first people that jumped on board with me and started giving me some money to help pay for some of this stuff. And appreciate it, Naz. You've been here for this whole 6-year run, man. So if you're listening out there, buddy, I appreciate it. I want to thank another big sponsor here. That's Paul Cromrye. PK has kicked in probably the most money behind me into the league over the years between all the races that he's sponsored and just other money that he's kicked in. So I want to thank PK. I want to thank my cousin Casey Carmichael. Back a couple years ago, Carmichael's Plumbing was sponsoring Top Fuel Racing. I can't remember how many races. They did a couple seasons worth. I want to thank him and, being a part of this. Of course, I want to thank all the drivers that have helped sponsor. And that's Mark. Start with Mark Walker. Mark Walker's right up there with PK giving away a bunch of money and, always kicking back. And he's pretty much contributed everything he's ever won. So I want to thank Mark Walker. I want to thank Chris Walker. No, they're not related. I call them the Walker brothers, but they're not related. But they both contribute a lot of money to this league, and I thank both of you guys very much for everything you've done. Trying to remember everybody here, but obviously the guys at the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Wes has kicked in a lot of money over the seasons, begrudgingly, even though he hadn't come to race, and I make him always kick in money, and he lets me know about it. But I appreciate it, Wes. My friends Travis and Ryan that I grew up with, they've kicked in money from the Fantasy Football League. Appreciate you guys sponsoring races. Like I said, I'm trying to remember everybody, and I'm probably not going to remember everyone tonight. But anyone that's kicked in any money for this league here recently, Mike Sturgill kicked in some money tonight. Byron Rodney kicked in money. I'm trying to remember who the third one was, and I can't remember off the top. Kieran was the third one. And I appreciate those guys for kicking in money tonight. And Kieran's actually stepped up a lot here recently in these last few weeks, just becoming more involved with the league, throwing up some practice rooms. I appreciate him for that. I appreciate all the guys that have done that in the past. You guys were a big cog in this thing. So I can't think of everybody right now. So if I don't mention you by name, I apologize. But just know that I respect y'all, and I appreciate y'all for coming out and supporting this thing for as long as we've been running hard. And if we do come back, I look forward to seeing whoever comes back. I realize that some won't. That's just part of taking 6-7 weeks off. You know, even if we said for sure we were coming back, there would be people that wouldn't come back. So we're never taking a break this long, and usually when leagues take breaks this long, people don't come back. So if we do, we'll just see what it's like when we come back. Anything else you want to ask me, Sammy?
Not really. But yeah, we've had fun calling these races with you, and hopefully we can continue this same relationship into season 11. Obviously, Frank's just joined us. Obviously, had a few technical glitches. That's why I couldn't race tonight. But Frank's on board now, and he's very willing to help out with broadcasting as well. So, would like to give him a chance to come up and call a couple of races if he wants to. And yeah, we would love to continue this relationship. Obviously, things have been tough this past year and a half, and hopefully this break really helps a lot of the strain dissipate, and we can start anew once we come back in July and August.
Well, it's definitely going to tell me one way or another, and that's definitely why I want to take it, because it's going to let me know one way or another if I still got it to want to do it, or if I just want to get away from it.
Absolutely.
And regardless of what happens, I'm still going to be your guys' friend. It's not like you guys ain't going to hear from me. So it obviously just wouldn't be doing this on Wednesday nights, but people still going to hear from me. And I'm not going to drag this out, to the last minute. I'll know by July, first couple of weeks of July, how I'm feeling. And if come July, that fire's just not there, then I'll just let everybody know it's just not there. And, it is what it is. But if I start getting the itch again, then there's a chance we could come back. I'll say this, like I told Kieran last night. I was up late last night. Kieran messaged me about 4 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And one of his first statements was he didn't feel that this was going to be the last race. And I made a comment to him. I said, well, just between me and you, it doesn't feel like a funeral tonight. So that could mean a couple different things. But it didn't feel finalized. You know what I mean? So I'll just say that.
We haven't had not really much reason for closure at the moment, so.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think anybody gonna get into that anytime soon. So.
But anyway,
I wish I could give you some tonight, but I really just, like I said, I just need a break. We've been running 6 years, and I just haven't had more than 2 weeks. I just need to get the hell away from it for a little while and see if I still love it. And like I said just a few minutes ago when I was talking to John Poole, I'm going to have to get caught up on the adjustments, because that changes the whole scenario of everything. That changes the whole game. You're not running with the same thing, 10 laps into it. You're making adjustments and making the car better. And at times I was doing all right tonight, but then towards the last third of the race, I struggled.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to be a new dynamic if we do come back for season 11. But Scott, thank you for another great season. Obviously, it's not worked out for personal reasons and other reasons, but definitely been fun to call these races with you. I think I speak for both Tony and Frank when we say it's been a blast, and hopefully we can do it again next season.
Yes, sir, man. And before I go here, before I forget, I want to say hi to my mom. Mom, I love you very much. I always give you a shout out. Sure as hell wasn't going to forget you on the last one. I also want to send a shout out to the rest of my friends and family. I'm not going to name everybody by name, but you all know who you are. The ones that tune in and watch the races or message on there, tell me good luck or what have you, or nice finish or whatever. If you've watched the races, you've been involved, thank you for supporting it the way you do. And thanks for tuning in. And just thanks for being my family and my friends. Love you guys.
All right, Scott. Well, hopefully we'll see you again soon. But right now we are wrapping this thing up for tonight. So let's go to the results for this race, as we are going to. Oh God! For the last time this season, I'm going to find some music to play. But anyway, let's go to the results for tonight's race, if it'll let me.
I got you, Sammy.
No, I got it. Coming home with the win here tonight at Pocono was the one and only Mr. Nate Seeker, coming home with the last race win of the season. And following in second place for the third time this season was Chris Walker. John Poole, the new champion, rounding out your top three. Luis Gonzalez Nunez, he was a dark horse this race. He finished in fourth. And Scott Brinson rounding out your top five here tonight. Kevin O'Brien in P6. Colin Scott in P7. Dan Brainson coming back from adversity finishing in P8. P9 going to Johnny Antonucci. And Paul Crumry, despite a wreck near the end there with Timothy Bates finishing in the top 10. Timothy Bates finishing 11th. Yep. Butch Davis in P12 after a difficult race. Kieran Brigelli after a late hit into the wall, finishing 13th. 14th going to Mark Walker. 15th going to Chris Foyles. 16th going to Carl Berg. 17th going to Ronnie Osmer. And going to wish him luck for the future because that was his last race with Top Fuel, unfortunately. And, well, for a while anyway. Finishing in P18 and not starting the race was me. And then there's a couple of one other guy called Frank Marquise in there as well, but he didn't start the race either. But anyway,
Hey, Sammy, before we go, I forgot a couple people that I got to thank that I'm guilty of never thanking them. I want to thank these two people. First off, before I do that, I want to send a shout out to my little cousin Nate too. He's probably way in bed. I'm guilty of never giving Nate a shout out. Nate, I love you, buddy. The other shout outs I want to give is I'm guilty for never sending my teammates shout outs. Paul, Sam, Kevin, Wes, and Will, I love you guys, and you guys are great teammates. Thanks for being my teammate. It's been a pleasure racing with you.
all right, Frank, were you about to say something?
No.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here on ESPN here at Pocono with Top Fuel Racing. Glad you could join the show for us for this one. Obviously, we apologise for the late start and not getting this thing started until the actual race started itself. But we got here anyway. We've got the broadcast in for you, and hopefully you enjoy watching it back later. But for now, all that's left for me to say is keep it clean, keep it green. And from myself, Tony Trapasso, and Frank Marchese in the booth, have a good night, and we will see you next time.
Take it easy, everybody.